Ho ho ho, your crush said no. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Christmas stream. We got a very special guest today. We are with Road to 1%, who has been in the community for, I don't know, at least a year. I think you started on TikTok, if I remember correctly. I used to get your videos come up in my recommended all of the time on that. You used to do like face analysis videos, but it seems that you're diversifying a bit because, it seems nobody knows which tech platform is going to clamp down and just take you off the face of the earth these days. So if you're like across different platforms, it seems like a good idea. But yeah, tell us a bit about your backstory.
What's going on, boys? So basically, I started doing content in 2023, actually. So it's going to be 3 years, but I wasn't too active in the last, let's say, a year or so. But basically, I started with normal videos, and then I was doing mogging battles as well. And then I started doing the facial analysis. And I just kind of started, I was doing them on every platform. So YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. But the Instagram never really picked off for some reason. But yeah, like YouTube and TikTok mostly.
Yeah, it seems that's what I was kind of talking about. I've just stuck with
Yeah.
YouTube, to be honest, because I don't particularly like the platforms TikTok and Instagram. It's not the kind of audience that I'm going after either. Like I could quite easily upload shorts to TikTok and Instagram. It would take zero extra effort to get more exposure, but then I'm just getting a awful audience coming into the channel. Like let's be honest.
YouTube's
With
the
the
best.
Yeah, let's be honest. Like with the new people that have been joining the community recently, this has all originated from TikTok and IG, and I think most people can agree that these newcomers, they're 1,000 times worse. Like they are very rage baity. They're very black and
Mm-hmm.
white. They're very like hype mindseted, and they also have zero real world experience. Like you know, I would say on YouTube the quality of the audience members is a bit higher because these are people that want to learn a bit more. They're more into nuance. But TikTok, just the way that the algorithms are set up, is that you've got to make a point within 30 seconds. Anything longer and your video is never going to get taken off. No, never going to blow up because people haven't got these attention spans for that platform. So because you've got a 30-second time limit, you got to say something extremely extreme and ignore all of the nuance just so you can cram in this massive your owned point in 30 seconds. Like, and if you look at the last couple of years, who was the most successful creator of all time on the whole platform, across multiple platforms in this short format, from having this type of content? Well, it was the guy with the initials AT, but that was until TikTok wiped him off the face of the earth. So you see what I'm talking about, that when you've got this style, then it
Yeah.
leans to a certain type of audience, a certain type of creator, and the quality is just 1,000 times worse.
So it all boils down to like short attention span. And majority of the audience that comes from TikTok or Instagram is
Yeah,
teenagers basically. That means they have a very short attention span, and they're not interested in very like deep type of videos. They're just there for the quick 30-second video. If you don't spike their attention, they're gone, basically. And what I find is that they're not particularly even interested in actually improving their looks. It's just like kind of like a meme to them. They're just here to talk about chat mogs, chat this, chat that, And
yeah, yeah. Like honestly, when you actually spell it out, you
there's no
realize
depth.
how bad the TikTok community is. Because the first thing you're right about, which is half of their videos aren't even giving advice or talking about real world stuff. It's just basement
No.
dweller PSL, like God are look at
Yeah.
Chico, like how much of a Chico edit, PSL edit, like wow, look at these 10 out of 10
Yeah.
moggers. Like they're just worshipping random models from the world. That's really sad. So there's no value in that. Like you're just looking at other genetically gifted people, it's not going to improve your life in the slightest. And that's like half the videos, these cringe PSL edits. And then actually, for the other 50% of videos which are supposed to be having value in them, like all this looks maxing advice, the vast majority of them, they're just looking to cut corners. It's, how to squint max 5% more, how to rub ice on your cheeks to de-bloat, how to pluck your eyebrows properly. Like, it's all of these cutting corner techniques which are going to have zero influence on your looks. And if any girl finds out about this is just so cringe, and she's not going to find it attractive either. Like, these are just cutting corner techniques. They don't increase your primal, and they don't increase your real facial attractiveness.
It's like it's frauding instead of actually improving your actual attractiveness.
Exactly.
It's like,
I know.
I've had multiple discussions with people, for example, because they want to use shoulder pads and like shoe lifts, right? And I always say, like, if you go on vacation to some place that you're never going to meet people, okay, maybe you can use the shoe lift, but it's like, what happens when you actually manage to get the girl, which 99% of them won't because they're very ND, but that's besides the point. Like, what happens when you're going to do the deed with the girl and then you remove your shoes and you're like 3 or 4 inches shorter? Like, do they really think she's not going to notice?
Yeah, that's like crazy.
Like,
Even I've been in
beyond me, bro.
situations where I've noticed, like, a girl takes off her heels, and then you're like, whoa, that was like a big height drop.
Yeah.
So if I've seen it myself, and let's face it, most guys don't care about height. We're certainly not,
No.
rejecting girls based off height. But girls, they're the only people on apps who are genetically rejecting someone of the opposite gender because of their height. Like, guys, okay, at the extreme end might reject a girl if she's like really, really short or really, really tall. But oftentimes when she's really, really tall, he's not rejecting her because she's too tall. He's, knowing that she's probably going to reject him. So he thinks, I probably wouldn't bother approaching her because she's going to want a guy who's at least 6'2". So, everyone knows that women are the height rejecting gender. And, if guys are able to pick up that a girl is frauding her height with heels, which is actually socially accepted, like, no one's going to care if, a woman takes off her heels and then she's shorter. Like, everyone knows and was anticipating that. But if you're a guy who has been wearing these 4-inch shoe lifts and then suddenly she sees a massive drop-off, like, that's just going to tank your primal. It's going to tank her genetic valuing of you. And she's probably going to not want to see you again.
It's going to dry her out.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But the thing I wanted to say about that is that, like, we don't care about height at all unless the girl is legit too short or like too tall. But one thing I noticed with taller girls is that they actually kind of insecure about it. So you would think that they would reject guys left and right for their height. But let's say a girl is 5'9". 5'9" is very tall for a girl, right? She might not reject you because you're 5'11", even though you're just 2 inches taller than her, which is not a very good height difference. But like, usually these girls are kind of insecure about it, unless she's extremely good looking.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, in my experience,
that's what I noticed.
In my experience, I've not found the girl's height when she's been tall has had that big of an impact. Like, occasionally it has. I'm average height. I'm 5'10". And I don't care what anyone says. I've measured myself 1,000 times. I know exactly what height I am. And I've never lied about it once. Unlike a bunch of these other TikTok frauders who blatantly lying about their height. I'm 5'10", and I've been out with girls who have been up to the same height as me. And I've, had primal reactions from them. It doesn't affect the primal, but what I have noticed is it does affect the chance that she would want a relationship with me. Because one thing I noticed is that for a woman to want a relationship with you, she has to envision it working in her head and envision it working in other people's head, that she won't get judgment from her friends or other people she knows or her family and stuff like this. So what I'm basically highlighting is that a woman who's 5'10", even though she's the same height as me, like, she's she's probably still going to have primal, because primal is mainly based off of, do I find the person's face attractive? Are they, in good shape? Like, are they as a whole an attractive
Yeah.
person? And, some elements of pheno range in there as well. But height doesn't really affect the primal you can generate from women that much, which is why guys like, Face IQ or Oscar Patel, like they're not going to have good primal from women because they've got no mogging features. They've, Face IQ's got good height, but he's really, really skinny. And I tell you, like, being skinny as a guy, that's just primal killer. It's only made worse if you're overweight. Like, overweight is very, very negative primal. That just kills primal. But being skinny, even if you're tall, then there's no primal generated from a woman there. So basically, getting back to the original point, that when there's a taller woman, like, she might still have the same amount of primal for me. However, she's gonna think the next day, like, oh, there's no way that a relationship with this guy would actually work, though, because we're gonna get judged by this person, we're gonna get judged by that person. The social acceptance is low. So the only girls I've had relationships with have been quite a few inches taller than me, like maximum 5'5".
For a relationship, like even myself, like if I'm just 3 inches taller than a girl, I'm not going for that. It's usually at
Yeah.
least 5 to 6 inches. Like it's a good gap.
Yeah, that's my experience
But
too. But like, if you had a
back to
similar
the
experience
primal
to me,
thing.
that there's a difference in terms of the looks of the girls you get for, shorter term versus relationship.
What I've noticed with like my own transformation is that definitely, right? Um, there's a certain things that only matter. I mean, when it comes to short term, only a certain things matter. Like, is your face good? Is your pheno within a range? Do you have primal in terms of like your physique? Are you lean? Do you have veins? Like they love forearm veins for some reason. Like that's the stuff that matters for short term. It also matters for long term, by the way, because I've noticed ever since I got my physique that like the girls that were hooking up with me, they would be more interested in having a relationship with me. And then it's up to me, like I decide if I want to take that step or not. But usually for long-term relationships, they also look at things like your height and whether like they can see a future with you, like even in an economical sense, right? Like if you're a loser, you don't have anything else, they might not be so keen to go for for a relationship with you. We're talking about decent girls, like there are girls that really don't care. They
Yeah.
just whatever.
Yeah. Like, when there's a big looks disparity, I've found you can pretty much get away with anything, and the girl's still
Yeah,
wanting a relationship with you. That, I'm talking like, when there's at least a 1 tier or ideally 2 tier gap between you and her. So if you're upper marginal, if you want macro tomorrow, and you want a relationship as fast as you can, like, just find the nearest submarginal looks girl. And it doesn't matter what else you do, it doesn't matter what your personality is, it doesn't matter how much crap effort you put into the relationship, it doesn't matter what your height is, it doesn't matter what her height is, it doesn't matter what anything else in this dynamic is, or how much money you've got. Just the very fact that you're 2 tiers of difference, she's going to want a relationship with you anyway. Not every time, because some girls who are submarginal, they see that you're 2 tiers higher than them, and then they actually reject you because they think that, they don't see it in their head as working. They think, oh no, this guy's too good to me, so I actually don't want to be with him. Like, believe it or not, this does sometimes happen. However, sometimes the delusional ones, like in your case, I would say that the same thing is happening at a 2 tier difference, because I think you're premium, like, as a whole package, and you'd probably get this kind of treatment from marginal looks girls, that it doesn't matter what behavior or attitude you have with them, or any other things working in the relationship, just the fact that you're 2 tiers clear means that she is still going to want the relationship with you. Have you noticed that?
yeah. What I think honestly happened with me is that like in terms of facial attractiveness, I was always like above average. Like I never struggled to get dates. But one thing that was lacking in me was primal because I had like a normal body. I was never super skinny. I was never overweight. and I wasn't like skinny fat either, but I just had a normal ass body. Like, if you were to classify the body, you just classify it as normal, average. And what I think happened was because I stand at 5'11", it's only slightly above average. Like, this is not a height where by itself, like you can generate a ton of primal, like let's say with 6'5". And we're gonna touch on the guy that is 6'5". But what I think happened is for a guy like me standing at this height, getting a really muscular physique at a low body fat, maximize my primal because now it's like one thing guys need to realize about physical attractiveness is that it's not just the face. Like they have to like your face, but they have to look at you and they have to visualize in their head that you are capable of doing physical things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Whether it's for protection, whether it's picking them up when the deed comes in, like they have to visualize that you're capable. And if you're fat or you're skinny, automatically that goes out of the way. Like you're not capable, right? If you're skinny, you're not strong enough. If you're overweight, you might be strong enough, but you lack the cardio. Like you're not healthy. So that's like the main point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with this.
Um,
That
if you're
yeah,
if you're 6'5", but you're too skinny, it also creates a very disharmonious thing. Like because you're too tall vertically, but horizontally, you don't look strong. And this
yeah,
is the case with the content creator Face IQ. Like he does not like. I can see Face IQ getting girls because he's got a very good phenotype and his height is premium, obviously. But let's say a girl goes into a nightclub and she's looking just to get a one night stand. Face IQ is not the guy she's gonna go for
yeah, 100%.
because he's too skinny.
Yeah,
Like
100% agree with that. He hasn't got
she might go for him for a relationship, but not not for a short term thing.
yeah, and the the,
And that's
the
the thing
biggest
guys are
killer,
missing on.
the biggest killer is that even in that relationship that he gets, there's a way higher likelihood that it's going to be non-primal jester. Like I could just
Yeah,
100% know that like with yourself, any relationship you get, um the girl's oftentimes going to have a hard time keeping her hands off you. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going to be very primal
yeah.
relationship that she's going to have a very high S drive to do the physical things. But with face IQ, he strikes me as kind of the person who, if he does get a relationship, like he's going to have to jump for a million hoops in order to like get it going to the bedroom, and even that's going to be pretty low enthusiasm, and it's going to be a lot more this gestury type of relationship. Do you agree with that?
There's gonna be, let's just say, there's gonna be a couple of days of the week where he's not gonna get any action.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah. Let's not be too mean to him. But the
yeah.
good thing is that he can
No, I'm
fix
not
that.
being mean.
Like I've noticed in looks maxing, there's more things you can do to increase your primal than there is to increase your beauty.
Aesthetics.
Like
Yeah.
I think most okay. It's impossible to go to for anybody to go to premium attractiveness, like premium beauty, because a lot of that is like capped. Like a lot of guys are gonna have a capped range with regard to their facial structure, their height,
Yeah.
or I guess elements of frame as well. However, if we're saying that like physique mainly increases your primal, everyone knows that getting your physique up is a lot easier than getting your face up. So if you're marginal primal at the moment, and I would say face IQ is probably marginal primal at best, if not sub-marginal. He could easily get that up to upper marginal primal if he just got in better shape, if he put on some muscle mass. Because then, his frame is fuller, he's filled out with muscle more, and I'm telling you, this does increase like how attractive women think you are. It does, as you say, like you got the 10 out of 10 physique. And when you went from the marginal physique, you saw a big difference in terms of how primal the reactions women were giving you are. Like, he can do that, but it's just going to take time. It's going to take effort.
Yeah, I can tell you basically what happened when I made the jump from marginal physique to premium physique. Uh, it starts with more matches on dating apps, obviously, more, just simply more. The quality also goes up, which I think a lot of guys have this idea that, oh, bro, if I just improve my physique, I only get roasties. No, that's not true at all. You get the girls that are already into your phenotype, right, and your looks range, but also the ones that have really good bodies. Like the quality goes up, the quantity goes up, but then more importantly than that is after you match them, and for example, you start to talk to them. First of all, it's gonna be way quicker to get their Instagram. It's gonna be way quicker to get their phone number. It's gonna be very quickly to get on a date with them. And sometimes you don't even have to go on a date with them.
Yeah. So
You
it
can
basically
just like
cuts out.
schedule with them like a walk in the park, right? A walk in the park, and then you two go back to our place, and stuff happens. It's like it's very quick to get what the guys actually want,
Yeah.
rather than having to go on like, oh, bro, no, I have to go on 5 dates just to get a kiss. No, that stuff does not happen. Like when you have a good level of muscle, but and you're lean, by the way, because I want to set that point straight. Being bulky, being bulky without abs is not a big improvement on your SMV. Like you're better than overweight guys and you're better than the skinny and normal guys, but it's not a big improvement. What actually changes the script is when you have a good amount of muscle and you're very lean. And I would even go as far to say this might be a hot take, but 15% body fat is kind of cool because the leaner I got, the better the reactions got up until like 9 to 8% body fat, even going from 12% to 11, 10, 9, 8. Obviously, there is a point where if you become too lean, it's actually too much.
Hmm.
But you have to try a lot to get to that point. Trust me, it's not easy. It's one of the hardest things you can do. And I actually want to talk about that because on paper, everyone thinks it's easy to get a physique. Like, yes, it's easier than becoming like a Chad facially, or premium facially, which I agree. But that's only interior because in practice, I don't know many guys in real life that actually work out for a couple of years that have a premium physique. It just feels like people get stuck into this 1 to 2 years intermediate physique. And this is where a lot of guys say, oh, I've tried gym selling and it didn't work. It's simply because the physique never crossed the threshold, which basically means you're not big enough and you're not lean enough, both at the same time. Because I promise you, like, if you have six-pack abs and you have some muscle, there is a 0% chance that you wouldn't be able to at least find one girlfriend. Like, just one girl that would want to be with you. Unless, of course, we're talking about someone that has like in terms of the face, they have a lot of things going on for the face that's not in a good way. I don't want to say any bad words here. Or if the person is very short. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just doing a poll, like, to see what the audience guys think, because clearly you've had your own experience knowing that improving your physique does increase the results, especially in terms of the amount of primal you get. And I've had so many friends confirm this is the same as well. And now I want to make one thing clear: I'm not
Yeah.
being a RP Copa here. I'm not, like one of these guys like
Same.
Scamser who is shoveling S to his audience, essentially scamming them, saying that even junk guys, like I think he made a video saying any guy can go from a 1 to a 10, like even if you got junk
No, that's
face,
cool.
junk height, but just if you get the 10 out of 10 physique, then it doesn't matter what your other stats are, then you're gonna get all of the gold. It's just not realistic. But what the main distinction we're trying to make is that if you're at least marginal, if you're at least 5 out of 10, then you will have a noticeable difference in terms of the primal reactions you get from girls. And this is why I'm doing this poll on the live chat right now, just to see what
Yeah, I
the
want to say
audience thinks.
something to the audience about
Yeah,
that.
because I've not been paying attention to the audience, but I got a feeling there's going to be some of these guys in the audience being like, oh, these guys are just
Yeah.
now talking about
Now, I
RP
want to say
sort of
something about
stuff.
that.
Yeah, okay, go
So,
for it.
what I want to say is, guys, by no means me and Wheat Waffles are saying that, like the red pill, that just go to the gym, bro, and things will improve. No, we're saying if your face is marginal at least, and you're not short, right? Key distinctions here. So if you're marginal and you have a normal height, at least, you can get a very good improvement in your overall SMV by being gym maxed.
Yeah,
And also, back to the point of the gym, we're just not telling you to go to the gym because that's what guys like Hamza do. Just go to the gym, bro. No, I'm saying your physique has to cross a certain threshold. Like your physique has to look a certain way. You can't be bulked up thinking that you're gonna get all the girls and you still don't have your six pack. And by the same token, you can't lean max to 140 pounds soaking wet or like 130 pounds. Like I've even heard guys thinking that they're going to lean max to 120 pounds, which is like 58 kg. Like by the same token, you cannot go down to those weights, have some abs, and expect the girls to be drooling all over you because
yeah. There's no
now you
primal in
got the
that.
leanness, but you don't have the mass, you don't
Yeah,
have the strength.
there's no volume.
And volume. I wanted to talk about that because it's just not me or any guy that is jacked can attest to this, but you have scientific literature that says that the strength indicator is like one of strength cues is basically the biggest indicator of like mating success. And if you're clever about this, what is strength cues? It's basically your muscle mass. It's the only strength cues you have.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Anyway, I'm going to do this poll now, so everyone is going to be able to vote in this, just to see how either sane or deluded the audience are. Because sometimes I've done these polls before and they've been interesting. Right, the question is, if Face IQ, who's very skinny, got jacked, what would he get more of? Mainly primal, some relationship. Mainly relationship, some primal. Both the same, or would make no difference. Right, the poll's being released now, so within a minute or so we'll get the feedback from this. But we're gonna see, because like one of my biggest criticisms in the BP community that I've seen is that people they got so frustrated with the RP, because let's be honest, most people that went to the BP started with all of the RP stuff, because this is the usual channel, which is guys struggling with girls, guys getting no enthusiasm, no reactions, and then one day he clicks on YouTube, the homepage, and he gets this video and it's recommended. It's like how to talk to girls, or like how to increase your attractiveness, and then he gets sucked into the RP rabbit hole, which says like, you just need to learn how to talk to girls. You just need to learn this game. You need to, hold this frame and, have all of these pickup lines. And you also need to get the 10 out of 10 body. And then if you do all of these things, then you're going to see your results change. And then guys maybe stay on that hamster wheel for a month. They go to the gym a couple of times and they try a few of these pickup lines. None of it works. And like they don't see a big improvement. So then they come to the BP space and then they're like, oh, well, clearly gym maxing doesn't work. Clearly learning game doesn't work. So, it's all looks, and none of that stuff from the RP had any merit. Do you know what I'm saying? Hello?
hello?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, the results from the poll are in. And,
I think you
yeah,
get both
I
the
would
same.
say
Because
I would have voted for the first option, which 41% of people have also voted for. The first option was that if Face IQ got jacked, he would get mainly primal and some increase in relationship.
people have this idea that I hate Face IQ, but I'm also the first one to tell you, if Face IQ got properly jacked at a low body fat and he stopped eating that bad diet, I don't want to say any other name, but he would be a very like he would have a very high SMV, because then like he's got all the stats going in favor for him. Like he's got the height, you'd have the physique, he's got the phenotype. Yes, in terms of face structure, he does not have the best face structure ever, but he looks good enough at those stats to have a very good SMV, a very good primal, no doubt about it.
Yeah, 100%. And like
But
you
I
know how
honestly
this.
think he's not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't know why he's like giving all of this diet advice when you look at his physique. Um, he's really skinny. Like how people say
Yeah.
like, oh, you shouldn't take diet advice or training advice over someone who's really overweight, which I agree with. But why would you also take the same advice from someone who's skinny? Surely you'd want to take the advice from a guy who's jacked. Like just because I'm not endorsing Scamza in every way. I think that he's a snake oil salesman in a lot of regards, and he's a chameleon. However, with regard to getting in shape, I would be a lot more likely to want to listen to him because he's jacked. He's in a good
Uh-huh.
physique. I wouldn't listen to Face IQ because he hasn't got the goods to back it up. He
Yeah.
hasn't got the credentials.
When like let's say I was in a position where I had to make a choice between listening to Face IQ or listening to Amza for dating advice, I would pick Amza because Amza looks like a guy that can get girls,
Mm,
like in a primal way. Like
yeah.
people like to point out his ethnicity and stuff like that. But if you're honest with yourself, like I know that Amza is not going to. Amza is not able to get like the best girls possible, but we have to be honest with ourselves. Amza is capable of pulling.
Mm,
Like you'd be lying to yourself if you think otherwise. Now, when it comes to Face IQ, I don't think Face IQ is even a channel that talks about you becoming more attractive to the opposite gender, really. Like when I look at Face IQ, it seems like a channel that is catered for you to like optimize your facial aesthetics in a model-esque way.
mm.
And then like the diet stuff, I don't even want to talk about that because it's like I actually will make videos on diet
Okay.
and why those diets are very deficient.
Yeah, and
But
realistically, there's not much you can do to
essentially,
increase your facial attractiveness. Anyway, like that
yeah.
is one of the main things that is fixed. So I don't know why all of these TikTok scammers are, talking about like how to squint max your way to becoming Chad or how to fumble to way your way to becoming Chad. It's like what's basically happened in the last 4 years. And I'm not blowing smoke up my own channel here, but before I came along, the BP space was very small. Not many people were talking about the importance of face or looks or height or these genetic components. It was all the old-fashioned RP advice like game and getting a good physique. Like, but then I came into the scene, and like a lot of people started catching on to the fact, actually, no, your genetic components like face and height are really, really important. And then when I blew up, it was only I did all of these like Tinder experiments and stuff confirming this, and other videos like giving hard proof showing the importance of these genetic factors. You had all of these scammers come on TikTok who hijacked on the idea and thought, okay, well, the customers, they're not going to believe and buy our products if we try and sell the same old tripe about getting in shape and selling courses about game, because they're not stupid. They know this doesn't work anymore. They know that your face and height is everything. So now we're going to make videos and make courses and make school communities charging loads of money for how to, become a Chad face and how to increase your height, which is just not realistic. Like, they've basically commodified and what's the word I'm looking for in it? Like merchandised the BP, or
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to get to. What the point I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? Yeah, they've like capitalized it basically.
They capitalize on it. I want to say something about a comment in here. This comment says Face IQ looks better than Amza. I don't disagree with you, bro. Face IQ does look better than Amza. But the fact of the matter is, Amza has more primal than Face IQ. And this is the type of thing that I've been trying to internalize in people for like the last 2 years or 3 years. And people don't understand. Like, yes, Face IQ looks better than Amza facially, but he has less primal.
Yeah, I
It,
agree with that.
it's very clear to me. It's
Yeah,
very clear to me.
I agree. I think that if I had to pick one for who would have a better chance of getting a relationship with like a normal girl, then 100% face IQ. Like,
Yeah.
he's definitely got within his range. Like the girls who are more on the pure side, who just go to church and they've got two parents that are together and they want like a nice boyfriend for her daughter. Like he's definitely got the potential to get her, but I don't think Scamza has. Like, and he's not shown that proof that he can get that actually because
But again,
you look at
it
his
would
last
be a very
relationship.
boring relationship.
Yeah, I would say it would be a boring relationship just because he's not got the primal either. Like you can get both. You can get both, but you need
Yeah.
like the combination of face IQ and Scamza together. And that is absolutely possible. However, if I had to say who's got a better chance of downloading a dating app and the girl being in a mood where she just wants to go to a guy's house and forget about it the next day. I would say that Scamza would have a higher chance of being able to get that because you've seen some of his shirtless pictures that he's used for dating apps. Those are the kind of reactions he's got. He's done his own Tinder experiments showing this. And these aren't necessarily going to be quality girls. They're not going to be girls for a relationship. However, I do think that Hamza has got more primal reactions.
I've made enough Tinder experiments, like chatfishes, and also with myself to know that a simple shirtless picture can literally like quadruple your matches on Tinder. So 100%, like if the battle is Face IQ versus Amza on Tinder or Bumble, whoever's got the shirtless picture is going to win, and that's Amza because Face IQ does not have a physique.
I would say they would get
Like
different type of
it's
matches. Like face
yeah,
IQ would get more, the girl's looking for a relationship, so she just wants a boring, plain boyfriend where no one's
yeah,
going to complain, and it's going to be average primal at best in this relationship. Like there's not
yeah.
going to be no primal. He's not ugly, but there's not going to be a very high amount of primal in this relationship. Whereas for Hamza, I think it would be very hard for him to get a relationship from these apps. But if he did, it would be primal for sure. And even if he doesn't get a relationship from it, there's going to be a high chance that he gets a lot of short-term interest.
But none of these guys are truly like premium in the
Yeah,
sense that like you look at
they aren't.
them and you think, yeah, this guy is going to like this guy is like Michael Yerger or like
Hmm.
someone like that. Like
They
this
would
dude
still
is
find
going to
it
clean
pulling
up.
teeth. Like both of these guys would still find dating pulling teeth. Um,
Yeah.
they're not going to find it easy. Like they're going to get marginal treatment for the most part from the dating pool. Like that's going to be their average reaction. Like for you,
Like
I
for
don't think you're
example,
going to get marginal
clavicular
treatment
is
from them.
ahead of them.
Yeah, clavicular is easily ahead of him, and he's going to get premium treatment for the most part. Like this is why I
Yeah.
tell guys don't try and complicate it. Don't try and make it more difficult than it needs to be. Like this is why I hate these people. There's even some in the chat now who are using all these ridiculous acronyms like, "Oh, Hamza is an LT MN," or like 4 different letters. Saying like he's a low, mid, normie tier. I don't know.
No,
It's just
no, no.
too confusing now. This is just ridiculous. Like, don't complicate it. Let's just make it simple. Premium looks gets premium treatment. Marginal looks gets marginal treatment, and junk looks gets junk treatment. Like if you're using all of these 4-letter acronyms, you're spending way too much time watching these basement dweller TikTokers who have got a whole audience of other basement dweller TikTokers, which is very ironic considering that they're talking about the female gaze. There's not even one female in their whole audience or their comment
That's the
section.
most ironic
It
part.
is like so. I guarantee you, um, you know, if you and Face IQ were both post into IG, like how to look more attractive, just basic stuff like this. Occasionally, you might get girls coming into your DMs. Face IQ wouldn't, and you know this is true because even look a couple days ago, after that fight between what's his name, the Pauler, Jake Paul, and Anthony
Hey, Paul.
Joshua. Like in the BP community, a lot of these basement dweller looks maxers who follow Face IQ and all of these squint maxers on TikTok, they always say like, Anthony Joshua, he's male gazed. He's male gazed. Girls aren't gonna like him. They're gonna want some, PSL, very very skinny guy with the 10 out of 10 face. They're going to be wanting to go in his DMs. It's just not true because after this fight, I was seeing it myself. There were so many reels and posts about Anthony Joshua. The comment sections were flooded with girls. Flooded. There was loads of girls just giving him premium treatment.
Because he proved to be competent at protecting, like he won a fight.
Is that, but he's also got high primal.
He's
His physique is high primal.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And I want to talk about this whole thing about the male and female gaze in terms of the physique, because I think people just don't get it. Because people are like, sometimes when you post someone's physique and it looks very good, and they say, oh, but it's male gaze because it's too much. But that's just because of the presentation of the picture. Like, obviously, if you're in a gym flexing, right, with a pump, you might look male gaze, but I guarantee you, if you put the same guy, the same physique, without a pump on the beach, a candid shot that makes him look like he's doing some activity, right? But he's not flexing, suddenly that picture is going to be more female gaze. Because that's basically the female gaze. The female gaze is you show that you look good without trying hard. So your physique has to be extremely good for you to look good in natural lighting, not flexing. That's the female gaze.
Yeah, I agree. And
it's a presentation thing.
Yeah, basically. Another thing is that the reason that people started saying a few years ago that getting a 10 out of 10 physique isn't female gaze, it's male gaze, is because like they did some experiments where, or people who just found out from like getting jacked in real life that when they were marginal physique, then they would never get compliments from anyone, and then they got jacked, and now every time they go into the gym, like another guy would come up to them and be like, oh, you're really strong, bro, or like great physique, bro, and they get the same on IG and stuff like this, that there's more dudes who are complimenting on their efforts and their physique. And they basically said, oh, that shows that physique is male gaze. However, it can be both, but one just scaling more than the other. So going from marginal physique to 10 out of 10 physique, then yeah, it might get you 3 times more compliments or 5 times more compliments in terms of male gaze, but it's going to get you 2 times as many compliments in terms of female gaze. So both have went up, but the male compliments has gone up by more. Yeah, but both have gone up. Yeah. That's the main difference. Like, for example, the example you gave, taking these photos at the beach where you haven't got a pump and you just got candid shots, which are, really like high primal stuff like this. Then if you upload that to Instagram, then yeah, there's probably going to be male comments or like guys saying like, oh, nice work. Dudes like commenting on your physique. However, you're probably going to get 1 or 2 girls in your DMs as well. If the post gets a lot of exposure and you've got a lot amount of followers on Instagram, you're going to get some of those as well. But if you had a marginal physique, then you would have got neither.
That's where what do you call it, volume, which is basically the amount of muscle mass the guy has. That's where it becomes very important, because when you are outside in natural lighting without pump, you have to have good volume for the physique to look all right or good. If you don't have the volume necessary, you will just look skinny. And then you get nothing. You don't get the male or the female gaze in that case, unless, of course, you have a very good face.
It is,
But
yeah.
that's the thing people don't understand. When you don't have the privilege to have a very good face card, the physique has to be the best you can possibly like get without crossing into the bodybuilding world. So you have to have that athletic athlete look. Like you have to have enough muscle at a low body fat.
Yeah, I
Like you don't
agree.
have to look like a bodybuilder, but you have to maximize your physique as much as you can because you're not blasting the face.
Yeah, 100%. Like, some people who have criticized, like, physique maxing, getting in shape. They've used counter examples of a guy who's clearly taken it way too far and has roid celled basically. And they've been like, oh, look, see, this guy, he lost all of his hair. He's got, muscles like balloons. He looks like he's ready for bodybuilding,
Yeah.
and he gets no girls. So, yeah, don't get in shape, guys. Just stay skinny, guys. Is this kind of argument? But you know, people not understand that there are diminishing returns in life. In a lot of aspects of life, there is such a
It's
thing
misunderstood.
as taking things too far. Like, not everything has to be to the extreme. You can get to your physique level, which I would say is a
I can tell you,
aesthetic max, without going to the extremeness of bodybuilding.
but I can tell you one thing. Even when you take stuff, it's extremely hard to just become a bodybuilder. Like you have to you have to try hard, man. Like you have to really try because like you're not gonna turn into a bodybuilder just taking a little bit of tests or a little bit of this or that. Like it's not gonna happen, bro. Like you have to actually want that and you have to take all the steps necessary to make that happen. And I feel like people have this notion in their head that if they just take this or that, they're going to overnight turn into a bodybuilder. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Hmm.
Like, it's actually way harder than what people think.
Yeah, there's that. And I had another point to
Like,
make. Like, it was about the pretty boy maxes. Yeah, the thing that annoys me about the pretty boy maxes, because another reason that you've got all of these people in the community saying like, oh, physique is pointless, because the guys who train and like become jacked and like look masculine, they're wasting their time because the female gays and the pretty boy dudes are gonna win anyway. They're the ones who women want the most. First of all, that's just simply not true. Like at the same looks level, a hyper masculine guy will always beat a pretty boy. He's gonna have more primal. He's gonna have
yeah,
more interest.
because he has more primal.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
do Tinder experiments proving this. Take like the same dude and then use AI to make the one of them like your physique, and then make the other one face IQ physique. Even if the face was the same in both, I
Yeah.
promise you, the guy with your physique will do better in terms of both quantity and quality. So that's proven right off the bat. And second of all, with the pretty boy maxing, like this has the most exponential difficulty, exponential learning curve to be able to overcome in order to get the results from it. And basically, what I mean by this is that it's way more monopolized by the top 1% faces. Because why? Well, Pretty Boys is basically, I'm going to let my face do all of the talking. That my face is the only thing that I'm marketing. So, this is the only thing that I bring to the table, and that's the only thing that we're going to be attracting girls for. But when, you're boiling it down to this one variable, that means that pretty much every dude who's trying to be a pretty boy is put in the same queue and lined up from worst looking out of 100 guys to best looking out of 100 guys. And the guy who's at the top, the guy who's better looking than everyone, he's going to get everyone. And everyone else is clearly a worse option because you can make a direct one-to-one comparison that those are inferior in terms of attractiveness compared to the guy who's the top 1% face. Which is why when you look at the pretty boys who are like famous and made a living and become models and got all of these girls because of it, like it is the guys who are just in the top 1%, and it's extremely cringy when you see just your next 6 out of 10 guy try to pretty boy max. Like when he uploads on TikTok, like, oh, my pretty boy maxing journey, no results, no algorithm is helping him. And like the occasional person that does stumble on his video, they're like, "Nah, sorry, bro, you haven't got the looks for this. You're not that guy. You're not that guy." Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
It's just I don't like when people, for example, that they use Chico and Elaine Delon like, oh, but they didn't have physiques and they got all the girls swooning over them. It's like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
such a bad argument.
exactly. That's what I'm talking about because he's a 9 out of 10 face. He would have got girls anyway,
Yeah,
um, provided he didn't become obese. And I'd still argue for these dudes if they increase their physique, they'd probably get more primal in their relationships. Because
yeah.
my friend
I
even
don't think
said
they
to
have
me that
maximum primal.
that guy Elaine Delone, what's his name? I could never pronounce it right.
Elaine Delon,
Yeah,
yeah,
Elaine Delon. I got sent a photo of his girlfriend, and this was just a very low primal woman. Like there was no
yeah.
primal on her physique, and but when you look at the guys who have maximized for primal, it shows that level of primal they can get in a woman increases as well. So they get the same beautiful face of a woman, but they also get the woman who's got high primal in terms of her body too.
Which is what most guys are actually looking for.
Exactly.
Ironic enough,
Yeah,
like
and the reason why that
because
Elaine
it's really
Delon
simple.
doesn't get that is because he can't. It's because he hasn't optimized for primal, and if you don't optimize for primal, you're not going to get primal. It's as simple as that. And the other thing I was going to say is oh, it's disappeared from my mind. Just a second. So we was talking about um, yeah. So when it comes to guys who haven't optimized for primal, like doing the pretty boy maxing, all of this stuff, then you can literally line 100 guys in a queue and rank them from first to best, no, first to worst. It's very easy because they're only being rated on their face. It's a linear progression. But for the dudes who have optimized for primal, like there's a lot more variables that are going into this, like because some are going to have different facial attractiveness, different facial masculinity, different physiques. It's a lot harder to grade these guys, and because the variables are more spread evenly, like if there's a dude who's across the board, 7 face, 7 out of 10 body, 7 out of 10 facial masculinity, he's going to get a lot of primal from women. But meanwhile, the guy who is 8 out of 10 physique or 9 out of 10 physique and 5 out of 10 face, like it's hard to evaluate who is the better guy as a whole out of the two options that I gave, because some girls who care more about the physique are going to go for the guy with the better physique. Some who care about a more even spread and want the guy with the face and the body, you're going to go for the guy with the face and the body. Like it's because there's more variables involved. Like it's easier if you're a marginal face guy to bring up your level of primal in other areas by getting a good physique. Like it's not compensating, it's just increasing your base attractiveness.
Yeah, it's like maximizing yourself.
It is, yeah.
It's not really like, I don't know why people say, oh, you're coping by being Gmax. No, you're just optimizing yourself.
It
If
is.
anything, you're the one coping because you're lazy to do it.
It is. Like, okay,
That's how I look at it.
let's be real for a second, because I've sometimes used examples in my videos of guys who are coping in the gym, and I would say that this usually takes two forms. Number one, if the genetic like facial attractiveness or height is so subpar, then it kind of does become compensating and coping. Because if a guy's junk face and then he gets really jacked, then I've seen the reactions from girls. They'd be like, "Oh no, his face is busted, and the only reason he got in that physique in the first place is because his face is really poor." So there's that, which we're not denying. But for a guy who's marginal face, when he gets jacked, then it does increase his true attractiveness. And the second way that guys cope with the physique, which I'd actually say is more common, to be honest, is that guys spend so much time and effort gym maxing that they sacrifice on exposure. Have you noticed this?
Yeah, basically, what happens, and this is also the reason why a lot of people think that like becoming a gym style is bad, and to some way is because some guys are not able to present themselves good with their gym self or with their physique. They basically just live for the gym. They always take the same kinds of pictures where they're flexing in a male gaze way, and and also they don't have a social life because they're too dedicated to it. That
100%.
also defeats the purpose. That also
Exactly.
defeats the purpose.
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
So
That's definitely cope. And it
yeah,
kind of takes the form in the BP community. They'll say like, oh, while you're grinding in the gym, and you'll be jacked after 8 years. Like Chad, who didn't go to the gym, he's already with the girl who's going to be your future wife, and he's having fun with her now. So you're having to play the waiting game. There is elements of that, but it doesn't have to be that way. If you're also generating exposure at the same time that you're improving your physique, like it's possible to level two things in your life up at once. Like you don't need to be all in on
yeah.
one thing and not on the other. And the saddest example I saw showing when guys don't do this, like this was just crazy. And now that I'm a few years older, like I know just how big of a mistake this guy made. Because if I was his age and he was 18, then I wouldn't have, thought that it was that bad of a situation. But now I've realized like how big of a f up he made. Then like when I saw him make the decision he did, I was just thinking, oh, what the hell are you doing, man? You're gonna look back and regret that so much. Because basically, it was the first week of uni like happening in a couple of days time, and somebody put on this group chat where like all of the new students were going to be arriving. There was loads of students in this group chat, and somebody asked a question like, oh, so what are you guys looking forward to next week the most? And some people put like, oh, definitely the parties, definitely getting to know everyone, getting to meet new people. And then this one guy who had like a gym coping selfie on his WhatsApp profile picture said these words. He said, oh, probably the gym, to be honest.
That's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you
Exactly.
can do.
Do you see what I mean? Do you agree? Like how dumb
Yeah.
this guy was?
Yeah, like on that note, for example, when I am out with someone, I don't take out food to eat or I don't eat that burger. Like I will eat McDonald's or I will eat whatever others are eating because that also boosts you up in terms of your social because people are going to be thinking, damn, this guy looks good, he's in shape, and he's not a tryhard. Even though you're a bit of a tryhard, you don't show that. It's basically like you show them that you also enjoy food and you can also eat the same foods as they are eating, but you still look good and you're in shape. That's a big boost for you. The worst thing you can do is, oh no, I'm not going to eat that. I just brought my food with me and I'm going to eat this, or I'm going to go eat some vegetables over there. Like, that is absolutely the worst thing you can do. Like, do not do that.
Yeah, that's really
Like,
cringe, Max. Like, because once you get to a good physique as well, there's marginal differences in terms of how much better like these 1 days of the month where you
yeah, yeah,
aren't optimized would have an impact. Like it's not gonna change your physique. Okay, maybe it will change your physique by 1%, but that 1% isn't gonna change the as a whole picture of how women view you. And you're not going to drop down a whole tier from premium to marginal or
nah,
marginal to junk from this 1 day. But you are going to drop down a tier in terms of how stupid you look and how much of a tryhard you
yeah,
look. Because all of the people in that social situation will be like, oh, this guy's a bit different. And then they're thinking, like next month there's a party and they're thinking of who to invite. And they're like, oh, but Connor's probably not going to want to come to this because we're drinking alcohol. And he doesn't seem like the person who would drink alcohol, so we better not invite him because
yeah,
he takes his gym too seriously, and then you're losing opportunities for other stuff, like
yeah,
But if you just be a normal human being and have a good time, and when you want to have a good time, like okay, even if you don't drink alcohol, then you can still like eat McDonald's when everyone else is getting McDonald's, but then when they invite you to the party and say there's going to be alcohol involved, then you just don't drink alcohol at this party, but you can still be a normal human being for that. Like, that's still considered normal because a lot of people are accepting and thinking, okay, yeah, fair enough. Some people drink, some people don't. Some people smoke, some people don't. Some people take drugs, some people don't. But when you're literally bringing your separate food to a party or to whatever venue, and you're eating it at a certain time, like, this is just extremely cringe max. It's ND max, and people aren't going to want to be friends with you because they just think this guy's weird. Let's not invite him to anything else in future.
There's a couple of things I want to say. Like, first of all, thank God that someone else understands this, because I think this is basic, right? Like, you don't want to show people that you're like a cringe tryhard at all, but you still want to look good. So, and then it's like, it's much easier to maintain a physique than it is to build it. Like, guys, believe me, like, I can go like 2 weeks in a row eating McDonald's. I am not going to look bad at all. Like, my face will be a little bit bloated, but I'll still have my veins. I'll still have like, my physique will still be here. And more than likely, I won't even gain weight because my maintenance is so high. But it's just crazy to me that people do these things knowing that it's going to ruin their perception. Like, the people are going to think of them as losers.
100%. Like, a big part of looking attractive is that, people think that you've never put any work into that. Like, it's so much more higher status, higher prestige if you're attractive, and then people think like that you just got it naturally, because that indicates that it's genetic superiority. It indicates that you got it as natural gifts, and people have more respect for stuff for when you a given thing as natural in your life and you were born with it, rather than you had to work for it. When people see you've had to work for it, they think like, oh, this guy, he just grinded. There's nothing special or unique about him. He just put in the work to obtain it. And, this is why even like the biggest example of all time highlighting this, and even this is going to bring up some debate, but I would say in terms of like who is more, worshipped as a whole and seen as like the better as a whole football player, like more people admire Messi because they just see the raw natural talent and how naturally gifted he is. Like, people have credit for Ronaldo, who, he's very naturally gifted as well, but people usually give the example of, Ronaldo is about hard work and Messi's the natural talent. And I would say that as a whole, more
Messi's
people...
clearly better.
Yeah, sorry?
Like, Messi's clearly better.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
More
people think that,
gifted,
I would say more people admire Messi because he is the embodiment of this just natural gift. Like, that, nobody else.
I'm not a Messi fan, by the way, chat.
You're a Messi fan.
No, I'm just saying I'm not a Messi fan, chat. Like, just in case the Ronaldo fanboys are going to start like, oh, you're a hater. No, I'm just real. Like, I prefer Ronaldo. Like, I'm Portuguese, obviously I will prefer Ronaldo, but Messi is the better player.
Okay,
like,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I have a different opinion altogether. I think that like a lot of these sports and stuff are just jester. Like, I'll watch highlights.
I definitely don't watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch like highlights of rugby, but these Messi fanboys and Ronaldo fanboys who are buying all of their merch and following 10 different IG pages of him, and
that's just
following, like, watching every TV show and like following him around. Like, I remember last week I saw on the news there was this like Messi just worship event that was in India, and Messi was supposed to like come and give a speech, and there was this whole like stadium who bought tickets to come see him like accept this award and give this speech, and he showed up, and then apparently he like gave him a really bad performance because the speech was really short or something like that. I can't remember exactly what happened, but he basically took their money and left. And then a bunch of these people got really annoyed who had bought tickets, and then they like started trashing the whole stadium, and they were like breaking chairs and you know, tossing tents over, like basically rioting just because they're upset that their idol pied them off. And I just think like, what the hell are these people doing, man? Have these people got nothing else to do with their life, nothing better to do with their life than get annoyed over someone else's actions who they've worshipped? Like, I
Should
don't
have
see the
predicted
benefit
that,
of
to
that.
be fair.
Sorry.
They should have predicted that, to be
Yeah.
honest, because Messi doesn't seem the type of guy that actually cares.
Fairs. Like,
Also, I wanted to say one thing that I forgot about the whole thing about not like eating out that some gym styles have. It's basically like guys are not aware of this, but once you really do a real cut, like you do your first real shredding cut and you become shredded, I can guarantee you it's gonna be difficult to ever be fat again. So that's why I recommend people should always do like a really good cut, and that basically sets them for life.
really.
Like, yeah, I can attest to that. Like, I got shredded earlier in 2025, and ever since like April or May, I have gained like 12 kg, and like I barely put on any fat.
Hmm.
Now, obviously I'm not natural, but the thing is, even if you're natural, you always set yourself up for success when you first become shredded before a bulk. Because a lot of mistake people do is, for example, you know these guys that are skinny fat, and the first question is, bro, should I cut or bulk first? The thing is, when you're skinny fat, you already don't have abs, so you're going to bulk. The nutrient partitioning is going to get worse and worse, and you just, I mean, you will gain muscle, but you'll gain more fat, and you're gonna hate the way you look. So in my opinion, like this is one of my opinions, it is advisable to cut first, and once you do a real good cut, you set yourself for success. So I think everyone like in the chat should at least try it once.
Hmm. Yeah, being skinny fat is
Like for
like a really terrible position to be in because
yeah,
I'll say that's like the
yeah.
hardest rut to get out of because honestly, there's a lot of overweight guys who are surprisingly strong. Just it seems from carrying the weight around and the fact that they've never had like a nutrient deficit. There is sometimes a lot of muscle underneath there. Like they can be quite strong. And when
Yeah.
they lose the fat, like the natural muscle that they already had is revealed.
They look good. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
will look good.
Yeah. But when you're skinny fat, you kind of got to do both. You got to gain the muscle and lose the fat. So that's two things that you got to do instead of just one.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Right. I was gonna talk about something else. Oh yeah. So right, you're in Portugal at the moment. And yeah, have you lived there all your life?
Pretty much, but I've traveled.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I live here
So
pretty
how would you
much.
say, and which city in Portugal are you in?
Lisbon,
Oh, Lisbon. Yeah, that's
the
the capital,
capital.
right? Yeah, yeah. Well, I know there's only like two or three big cities in Portugal. It's like Porto and Lisbon. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah. So how is dating in Lisbon? Is it well, obviously your experience is going to be quite good, but like what methods are most people meeting? Is it like apps or what?
I think most people are still meeting like the more traditional ways, like parties, like associates, like friend groups. The apps don't have a lot of volume
All right,
as
okay.
far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned,
I've heard that it's
but
sometimes
does
like
have
this.
enough.
Yeah, in like Mediterranean countries like Italy, Spain, and Portugal, that there's less emphasis on apps and more people are meeting in real life. Either in like social circles because they have like a lot of communities there, um, or they're meeting at parties. Do you think that's true?
Definitely. And one thing I want to add is, for example, in Lisbon, because lately Lisbon has become like a kind of like a tourist city. I can tell you that in the summer, dating app volume goes up quite a lot because of all the
Foreigners.
all the foreigners that come here.
Okay.
And
And
yeah,
would you say
I
you
do
do?
know about that because yeah,
Would you say you do well with those?
yeah, extremely well,
Yeah.
extremely well.
Well, what countries are these
Uh,
foreigners usually from?
uh, all from Europe, like UK, Germany, France. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I could tell.
sometimes even get the Nordics, Sweden.
I could tell girls from UK would really, really like you. I just
Yeah,
know it. I just know that like it's weird because in England, like um surprisingly, the South Southern European pheno is really valued and really sought after. If
yeah. You
he's
see
hyper
that in those
masculine.
shows like the
Yeah, like
what's it
Love
called,
Island
like
and stuff like
Islands,
this.
Love
I
Island.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, like and the lighter phenos aren't as wanted. There's just not the market in them anywhere near as much. I've noticed I'm pretty sure that's unique to England because when I've been to other places in Europe, I've not seen that. And the lighter phenos tend to do better. Like in Scandinavia or Eastern Europe, like if you've got light skin and dark hair or even lighter hair, then you'll do better there. But in England, you'll find it harder. I found that guys of your pheno only when they're HM do well. If they're pretty boy, they won't do well. No way. Pretty boy and Southern European, that's not going to do well in the UK. Like this is why some people in the video were trying to say that Oscar Patel would do well, which is just not true. His pheno isn't that bad. I guess some people would think that he's Mediterranean passing. However, in England, he would get rejected so fast due to his lack of mogging features. And when you combine that with his pheno isn't congruent with his mogging features, then in England he would get nothing. But you would get a lot in England, I can tell, because I've seen the guys who are
feel
this Mediterranean pheno do well in England only when they've got the mogging features, only when they're high primal.
yeah, yeah. What I noticed is that if you really have high primal, you will do well everywhere. Like there's no exception. Lots of people like to cope about it. They say, that like they also say stuff like, Asian girls prefer pretty boys or this and that. But it's like if you're like HM and you have high primal, you will basically never struggle. Like in other words, like you will always have more options than what you can handle, and then it's up to you to decide like what you do with it. Because at that point, you're not going to struggle at all.
Hmm.
Like if you want a different girl for each day of the week, you can get that. Like
Hmm.
guys like Michelle Moron are not gonna struggle anywhere else.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like with that type of phenotype, like
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I would say that, as the community is now, like the next thing that a lot of people are gonna be looking into and researching more, is gonna be like phenotype preference. Because honestly, I would say this is second in line in terms of most important. It's more important than height actually. When a girl has a type for a pheno, she has a type for a pheno. It's as simple as that. Um,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're 6'5". If you're the wrong pheno for her, then a guy who
yeah.
is 5'7" and is the right pheno for her, he'll have a better chance. Honestly, and I know this is true because I've seen first-hand examples of it time and time again. And then BP Copers will see that same example and be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe she rejected the 6'5" guy. How did the 6'5" guy get rejected? He was at least
Think
average in the face and everything. How did he get? Well, yeah, because he's not the type that the girl wants. She wants a different pheno. Like, are you dumb?
I
Um,
think so. I think the BP copers, the main problem with this community is that people are very number based, right? They're black or white thinking, 8 or 80 thinking. And like it's not about you being like a 7.5 versus a 7, or you being like a 8.5 versus a 7.75 on like a face rating scale.
Hmm.
It's more about like, is your phenotype within the types that she likes? And then after that, like, she's gonna try to gauge for more things, because attraction is just not as easy as just math numbers. Like, it's more complex than that. Like, we're talking about human beings. We're not talking about machines. It's like,
100%.
is your is your pheno within the range? Like, is your facial aesthetics good, or like good enough? Like, is your height good enough? Like, you have a high primal. Like, they look in you and they feel it.
Hmm.
Just the way when we look at a girl that has a really good body, we feel the same thing. A girl that has a pretty face but a very skinny body does not give the same feeling to us.
Hmm.
So it also applies to them.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, pheno is massive for women. Like, and I think the reason why guys underestimate how important pheno is because I've noticed guys don't tend to care about pheno as much. Like, some dudes might say they prefer blondes over a brunette, or some
Uh-huh.
prefer a tan over a lighter skinned woman. But as a whole, like
I
they
like
usually,
both.
yeah, they usually take both, and they're not like that fussed anyway. But girls,
I
I've
like both.
noticed, like it's very, very strong. Like the pheno preferences, she either likes tan guys or light skinned guys, and it's almost never she would go outside of this range. Like it's even this specific that it's different shades within the same race of guys, because it's not a matter of just like, oh, she likes white guys, she likes black guys. Um, Even I've heard in the black community that, oh, some of them prefer like the lighter skinned black guys, and some of them prefer the darker skinned black guys. And it's the same with white guys, that there's tan white guys, and there's white dark there's lighter skinned white guys, there's blonde white guys, there's ginger white guys, there's guys with black hair and brown hair. There's all of these different fonts of dudes within this one ethnicity, and I promise
Yeah.
you, most women, they'll pick maybe one or two of those types, and that will be a hard line, a hard fault in terms of what they would go out with from this one ethnicity. And if you don't believe that's true, then you've just not had as much experience. You've not had enough.
Which they didn't, because the average age of this community is like 17 years old, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
That's the whole problem
Literally.
with it.
Yeah. But
The
it's just
thing, the
you know.
thing about this is that you just need to give time to these people. Like, I guarantee you, in 5 years, a lot of these people in the chat are going to reach the same conclusions as me and you are saying here. It's really that simple. It's an age thing too. It's a lack of experience. They just need to experience it to
Mm,
know. Like,
yeah, I know, because there's too many basement dwellers in it here at the moment, and this is the problem,
one
which
thing
is
that I
that
noticed is that pale is not really good though. Like, being overly pale, no bueno.
yeah,
Like, you
that's
don't have to
usually.
be tan.
Hmm.
You can be light skin. You can be tan. Like, there's a nice range where people, like, girls have their preferences. But when you're pale, man, it's like, not only you do look more sick, and it goes beyond looks too. Because when you're pale, the first thing girls are thinking is, this guy does not go outside. He does not have a life. He's not fun. He stays inside playing his video games, basically. That's a huge failure. Like, this goes back to our conversation where we were talking about the whole personality of a gym cell, that is a tryhard that doesn't go out to eat because, he can't. So it's the same thing here.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, like I've seen this firsthand because well, I'm compared to most European guys, I'm a bit more on the paler side. However, I'm not completely pale. A lot of people might think I am, but I'm actually not. Like, you've got to have some sort of color, some sort of hue to your facial tone. Because if
Yeah.
you are just completely pale, and I've seen these guys, and I've stood next to them, and people have even said to my face, like to both of our faces, like just unprovoked, they've just made this comment. They said like, "Oh, me, wheat, you have a lot more color compared to him." Like the other guy you're standing next to, he looks really pale compared to you, even though you're similar in other ways, like you're both the same hair color or whatever. So I'm not completely pale. I've got some color, and you, as a guy, generally you do want to have some color, um, because it goes beyond pheno preference. Like sometimes, not being a type of a woman isn't necessarily because you're not her type, but it's just because this particular pheno is just seen as less attractive by everyone. And if you're a pale, like pale ginger guy or pale blonde guy, especially, then you're not seen on the same level as a guy who's got a bit more color as a blonde guy or a bit more color as a ginger guy. You're just seen as a less
Yeah.
attractive version. It's not about the type necessarily at that point. It's just that being too pale is seen as less attractive by pretty much
The
everyone.
other guy looks healthier.
Yeah, yeah,
Looks healthy.
exactly.
Looks more,
Yeah,
more vibrant. You know.
it is.
That's
Yeah.
why.
So like pheno is, I would say pheno is mostly about type, but there are some links with pheno and um,
And
overall
I,
attractiveness in terms of how attractive women perceive you.
when I think about all like this is why like I'm telling people this is because I've done a lot of things. So when I look back and I think of all types of look maxes I've done, obviously I didn't do stuff like like bone smashing or thumb pulling or any of that crap. But like when I think about everything, like the only two things that really made a difference in the outcome and the treatment was really G maxing and using Accutane to like get rid of my acne when I was younger. Like I've done a multitude of different haircuts. Like I have people in my comments saying, "Oh, you should do your hair this way. You should do your hair that way. Oh, you should be clean shaven. Oh, you should do this. You should do that." Guys, I have done all of that. Like I've done all of that. None of that stuff actually made any difference in my dating outcomes. The only thing that made a difference in my dating outcomes was actually like becoming lean with muscle, being a bit tanned, because I was actually quite pale for a Portuguese guy. And yeah, using Accutane a couple of years ago to like get rid of my persistent acne that I had. I never had like a full acne phase, but I would always have pimples, because
Hmm.
my skin is very I have very oily skin naturally.
Okay.
Um, like obviously I've tried all the natural copes. Like I've tried the diet, like no sugar, like no dairy, all of that stuff. I would always have acne. It was up until I used Accutane that I actually fixed it.
Yeah, I would
And
say.
like yeah, like
Mm. Yeah, I think the main aspects of looks maxing, like people talk about the
yeah,
80-20 rule, that 80% of results come from just 20% of things that you do. And when it comes to looks maxing, the 80% is in the most important things. Is only a couple of things, and that is
yeah,
getting your mogging features up, which is mainly going to come from getting in a good shape. Like it's a combination of both being low body fat and increasing your muscle. Both are important. Being low body fat is more important, but getting your muscle up definitely improves your situation too. And then I would say, um, like yeah, having good health
a little bit
indicators
of
such
color,
as
tan, like tan,
I'd say
like
next is the health indicators. So some color, um, no spots or acne, and like you mentioned, you got an Accutane for that. And a very very big one, as important as those two, is hair loss treatment. That's
yeah,
ignored by a lot of
which I
guys,
don't
but
suffer from, but
yeah, I'd put that in the top three or top four,
yeah,
definitely. If you're suffering from that. Same goes with acne.
like
Not every guy is going to have that problem, but if you are, then that immediately goes top three. So,
I
those
wanted
are the most important factors. I'd say next is
I wanted to say
okay. Go for it.
I wasn't like it's not just an hairstyle like some dude is saying here on the comments. Like I've actually did perms to try like curly hair, wavier hair. Like none of this stuff actually made a difference. I was quite surprised. It's like I would always get like the same type of girls, like the same treatment basically. Like I even remember that I was trying to fraud my eye color because there was a time, like I'm not going to lie to you guys. There was a time where I was a bit PSL gaze too. Like I would think that squinting for the pictures, having blue eyes, or being a bit more pale, and like frauding hollow cheeks and all that shit. Like I was under the impression that that stuff was important. In reality, what would happen is no improvements to be had in terms of dating outcome because girls just look at that and think that you're autistic. Like
Yeah,
I'm
and
just going to be real with you.
it is. And the
Um,
biggest fraud, the biggest you know, lived example of how you know that PSL or pretty
yeah.
boy maxing doesn't work, and I'm sure you've probably experimented with this as too, is oversized clothes. Oversized clothes is a primal killer. It's primal
Oh my
killer.
god, man.
Like, I wore oversized. Actually, no, for me, because I started in the RP space, and that more leans into HM and primal focus. Like, I was going out in muscle fit clothing, like a tight white top or a tight black top, and my physique is above average in real life. I've got natural decent volume. Like I'm 5'10" and weigh 78 kg. Like I have a quite a broad chest. And my arms look
Not
skinny
much
on
heavier
video,
than
but
you,
in
to be honest.
real life, like I do look quite bigger compared to the average guy. Especially when you think of how skinny the average guy is. Like I'm probably top 25% in terms of volume. Like height to weight ratio. Like 78 kg, 5'10" is a lot. Like that's not naturally skinny. And yeah, when I was first going out, I was mainly wearing muscle fit and stuff like this, and I was getting a lot of attention. Like I would have girls give me primal reactions. Obviously not every girl is going to be your cup of tea, or have think that you're attractive, but there were definitely some
Yeah.
results there. But then I heard all of this stuff online about oversized fit, so I wore oversized fit once or twice, and then I just didn't get any attention. So I was like, what the hell was this? Stupid thing about like why are these guys saying oversized fit is good? Because when I'm going out, I'm getting way less attention. So then I just went back to oversized fit,
Because
and
of
and
Tails.
the, and the,
Tails,
and the
there's
attention
a
went straight
content
back
creator
up.
that started that.
Yeah, like have you had the
Yeah.
same experience? Have you ever experimented with oversized fit, and did it give you more or less attention?
So basically, it's like I only experimented with oversized clothes before I had this condition, right? Before I looked like this. Before, when I had like a more
Marginal
average to normal
physique.
body,
Okay.
yeah, marginal physique. Yeah, obviously I experimented with like oversized, and there's no difference. There's no difference. Women can tell that it's clothes instead of being the frame or muscle mass. Like, I don't know why people would think that you could actually fraud a good frame or a good physique with oversized. It does not happen,
It
guys.
is. Yeah, it's way more
Um,
convincing if you're jacked like you are, and then you wear muscle fit, and then you go out, because there's clearly nothing you can fraud. It's impossible to fraud with that. But if a guy's wearing oversized fit, she doesn't know if he's got shoulder pads on underneath. It's hard to get a primal reaction from a woman when you're wearing these oversized fit where she's not actually able to see the masculine outline. And they've done
so,
had studies on this that women have had like primal feelings for when a guy has a V taper, a guy has a six pack, a guy has the broad shoulders, the shoulder to waist ratio. Like when those things are on show, which is only on show when you're wearing muscle fit, then that's what's going to make the difference. But when you're wearing a really baggy, oversized fit, where there's no dimorphism, there's no way to see what this guy's physique actually looks like, that's not going to generate any primal.
it could look good, but you're not doing a good job to yourself. Let's say if you're jacked and you're wearing oversized, you're not really you're not improving your odds because you're kind of hiding what you have. Like you're not instead of you showing your strengths, you're kind of hiding it.
I know
So it's
exactly it
like
is. It's hiding your strengths, but this is besides the main point that I wanted to say because look, what it comes down to is None of these internet theories or, people like Tails, what they have to say online matters. Literally none of it matters. You don't need to watch a single one of these videos or read a single one of these posts from these people on the internet. All that matters, and the only thing that I care about now, is what has worked for me in real life, what has gotten me primal and premium reactions. And if that goes completely opposite to what Tails has said or some other TikTok basement dweller looks maxer has said, who, has no real world experience, then that's fine. Like, I'm going to go against the theory that these basement dwellers are saying, and I'm going to go based on my own lived and breathed experience, because I know what works for me. Another example was the short hair thing. Like, people were saying to me a couple years ago, like, oh, you need to grow your hair out, bro. Trust me, like, long hair is the in thing at the moment. It's pretty boy maxed. You need to grow it out, bro, and, girls are going to like you even more. Okay, well, I tried it. My enthusiasm went down. My primal went down. It didn't make a massive difference, to be honest. And, it made no influence. And if anything, it was a negative influence. But then when I went back to short hair, I was getting better treatment. So, they're telling me, well, let my reactions to the talking.
The rule for this, and I've never heard anyone say this, but you're gonna hear it from me, is the shorter the hair length you can pull off, the better. Like, let me rephrase this better. You have to use the shortest hair length you can get away with while maintaining the same aesthetics. So, in other words, like, you start with long hair and you start cutting it, and there is a point where there are guys that look horrible with a buzz cut, right? There's guys that look horrible with short hair. Like, you have to find the point where you don't look off, and that's what you stick to, because it is more dimorphic. It's more masculine. It's more primal.
It is.
Long hair can work, but
yeah.
it's very rare for a guy to actually look better with longer hair.
It is.
And these dudes that are called hypermasculine, like Roman Reigns and that actor called Jason Momoa, they pull off long hair, but guess what? They're very tall, they're jacked they're very fucking jacked. Like, they're jacked and they're very tall. So you are the 5'9" guy in the chat. I don't think you should try to copy that, honestly, because it's not going to look good for you.
Yeah, I would say that
you have to find the minimum length.
Yeah, I would say for the guys with long hair who pull it off in the hypermasculine ways, what you described. But most of the guys who are hypermasculine have short hair anyway because they know that it's higher primal. The guys who have longer hair typically are more pretty boy leaning. Like,
short to medium seems to be the best for most men.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the 16-year-olds who everyone's got the same haircut nowadays. This floppy stuff, like looking like broccoli.
No, that only makes you look like a kid. Like, that stuff is cool when you're like 16.
I know, these 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds who have all the same haircut. It looks good in the respect that it looks high social acceptance and it looks normal because everyone else is a carbon copy of you, but it doesn't increase your primal that much. There's no primal there. But if you have short hair and you're masculine at the same time, then I promise that's going to get higher primal reactions.
100%.
Hello?
It's really like, I said 100%. Like,
cool.
But one thing that needs to be mentioned, because I know people are already going to deter our words, is that, guys, like, for the most part, most men also cannot pull off a buzz cut or even extremely short hair. So this is why I am saying, like, short to medium or medium hair tends to be the safe option.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys notice, whenever a guy can pull off a buzz cut, it's just a win for him. Like, it's just an extreme win, because it's like you really have that like look. And on top of that, you don't have to do much maintenance at all. Like you just buzz it.
Yeah, it's like Channing
For
Tatum
example,
looks quite good in a buzz cut, doesn't he? But it
I
only works
I
when
kind of
you're
wish I could pull it off,
yeah,
but I
it only
can't.
works when you're already Chad and you have good mogging features, and that is what somebody like Channing Tatum is. Well, was when he was younger. But for
Yeah,
anyone who thinks
100%.
that these people like Elaine Delon are gonna get better choosing signals or more primal reactions compared to somebody like Channing Tatum, there's just no way. There's just no way. It's just not
No,
gonna happen.
if if uh, if the woman wants to have a fun night, she would choose the obvious option,
Exactly. Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's not a non-primal guy.
Yeah, but for a relationship, she'd probably choose either, but the guy with the primal would have a more primal relationship.
Yeah,
And he would also get it with less friction, less resistance. Because I've not noticed a lot of these, low primal guys who look normal, like these floppy hairs, they get
yeah.
gestured. Their gesture rates are 10 times higher. 10 times higher. And why? Well, it's because the girl will go out with him a couple times and she's at this conflict in her mind. In her mind, she's thinking, like, yeah, this guy, I'm not going to get any complaints from my parents or my friends or my sister. He looks normal. He looks like a guy where if I walk out with him in public, people aren't going to give me funny looks. They just think, oh, that's just a regular, normal looking couple. But at the same time, she's thinking, I have no primal for this dude. Like, I have 1% primal maybe. So, even though I'm going on dates with him and it feels safe and it feels fine going out, how am I going to be able to make it work long term when the primal just isn't there? You know what I'm saying? You
So so
sent a
I'm gonna
message to the
send you a
chat.
photo of how I usually like have my hair,
Okay, do you want me to
right?
bring it up on the
And
stream?
like yeah, yes.
Okay, it's
And
it's on it's
basically
on show now.
I've heard this quote. Yeah.
What cope have you heard?
Let me know when you have it on the
Yeah, it's
stream.
on the screen. It's on the screen.
So I heard this quote plenty of times of people telling me to grow my sides.
No, don't,
Like,
don't.
grow your sides, right? Because it's gonna look more cute, it's gonna look more pretty. I agree, it's gonna look more pretty. But I look better in like a primal way if I keep my hair like this.
Yeah,
Like I just know it because I know from the reactions.
yeah. You
You
know
know
it
what
from
I
the
mean?
reactions. You don't need to listen to anyone. All you need to do is just look at the reactions. Actions speak louder than words. Don't listen to any of the advice people give. Just look at the
Yeah,
reactions.
it's
Also,
insane.
I'm surprised you
Like
said that you wouldn't be able to pull off a buzz cut. It looks like a buzz cut would suit you.
I don't know. I think I lose a little bit of facial aesthetics if I do that. Like it's at that point where I think the trade-off for the facial aesthetics or facial beauty kind of is not worth the trade-off in like the dimorphism. You know what I mean? Or like the
Okay.
primal.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Well, I think
But this
both
is
would look
basically
good.
the
Yeah. Well, again, just let the reactions to the talking. If you went to a buzz cut and you saw more primal and more premium treatment, then do it that way. If you didn't, then go back to what you've got now.
yeah yeah.
Yeah, but you know what's
And
interesting?
like as you can see, this is how I usually wear if I'm out now that it's cold. But if it's not cold, I'm not even wearing a jacket like that. Like I'm always trying to leverage my physique.
100%. Yeah,
Like
that's a good idea, and I could tell it would be good. But even with this jacket, you can tell you're naturally jacked. Like you got a good physique still.
yeah, like wide neck, like the shoulders look good. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's.
yeah, and I was gonna say yeah. So one thing I've noticed. Tell me if you've noticed the same. That when you're dating a girl, especially if you're in a
Yeah,
relationship, and you ask her for how to
right
look
now I
better,
am.
she will give advice, none to increase your primal, and she'll only give looks advice to increase your trust and social acceptance. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Have you noticed this as
like
well? That like if you're dating a
uh,
girl, she would have been the one to tell you to grow your hair out on the sides, which is going to lower your primal, but it's going to increase your trust and social acceptance.
so basically what because right now I'm in a relationship because I got bored of just like I was seeing a lot of girls, and I eventually got bored, and I found this one, and I really liked her. So I was like, let's try this relationship thing. And part of it is because she gives me very good treatment, as it is, like very, very, very good treatment. Like I get a lot of gifts as well. Like I have no complaints basically. And but one thing that I'm starting to notice is that she's trying to always feed me, kind of like she's trying to gain me to make me gain a little bit of body fat, you know, because
No way, really.
she knows that being this like lean and stuff, you know, is very attractive, and she has made jokes like, "Oh yeah, I have to remove you from the dating market, so to speak."
Oh my god.
But it's like I just laugh it and keep it casual. Like I know, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to get fat. You know what I mean? But it's
Hmm.
funny because yeah, essentially they don't tell you any stuff that can improve your primal, which is actually what matters.
100%.
Anything that can make a girl look at you and lust for you is the type of advice that they're going against. It's amazing, really.
It is. And
Like
you know why it's more important? Because in life, from a woman's perspective, who will she find more guys? Guys who she has social acceptance for, or guys that she has primal for? What do you
uh,
think?
uh, to me, primal is king.
No,
Like
what
if
will
you want
she
a
find more of? What's
relationship,
more common? From if you're a woman walking in the
oh,
world, what is more common that you'll come across? Guys that you'll have primal for, or guys that you have social acceptance for?
social acceptance is way more
Exactly.
common. Like
Yeah.
social acceptance is common.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Like most
let's be
guys have
honest. Like
social
you can
acceptance.
find,
Yeah, like half the
yeah.
dudes have social acceptance because they've got the pheno that no one's going to
So
question. They've got, average enough height. Okay, their face isn't that attractive, but they don't look threatening, and their body is average at best. Like, that's
I
all
will
you
make
need to
a
have
movie.
social acceptance.
I will make a movie analogy. So if I'm a movie director and I'm looking for a guy to play Ted, right? I can go on the street and find multiple Teds, right? I can I can find a lot of Teds. I can find plenty of Teds. I can find a dude that can play the safe husband role. Like I can do all of that, but trying to find the guy that can play, for example, the high school jock athlete, it's not easy. Like
Yeah,
trying to find trying to find Chad, like trying to find Brad, you know, like trying to find these types of dudes where women really like glance over and lust for. That's not easy.
100%.
Truly not easy.
Exactly. So, given this, you know, um, given that primal is rarer, then surely it makes sense to optimize your looks to for primal reasons. Like, don't just have the long, safe haircut, which is high trust. Be more
Yeah.
dimorphic. Like, grow a bit of stubble. Get a jacked physique, which is like yours.
Facial hair is
That's not
huge
too
in that
hard.
regard. Like stubble facial hair, 2 millimeters or less. If you're dense, like if you have dense, which by the way, I don't have perfect density, but I can still pull it off.
Mm.
Is way more sexual appealing than just being clean shaven.
It is
Like
exactly.
even if you have a top tier jaw, having that facial hair is a bonus because it's hormonal driven. It shows that you can grow. It shows that you have testosterone, basically.
Yeah.
I know this is kind of a dumb reason to say, but it just is what it is. Like,
Yeah, like with the movie point, like if you was in a movie, you wouldn't be the nice husband. There's this, the safe option, the beta guy. You would be
yeah,
like the security guard at the airport who the wife like secretly likes. Meanwhile, the beta husband's like, "Oh, come on, quick, we gotta go, trying to get the wife away from you." Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah. Like, it
um,
just shows that primal is more rare. But when you're in a relationship and the girl's trying to alter your looks, she's trying to detract away from your primal. She's trying to increase your social acceptance But what's the point in that? Like, why would you need more social acceptance when that's 10 a penny? That's common. And you even see from women swiping on dating apps, like half the dudes will have social acceptance. Like, there's a dude who's taking a selfie in his car and he's smiling to the camera being like, oh yeah, this is my car. And he's like 5 out of 10 face. Or a guy taking a photo with a fish who's like 5 out of 10 face. Yeah, this is high social acceptance. Zero primal. And then you've seen the videos of these women swiping on dating apps when they've seen this. They swipe left on every guy who's got social acceptance but no primal. But they will actually take a second to pause and consider a dude's profile if he's got primal. But it's
those are also the type of guys that they might have a lot of matches, but they can't translate those matches into anything else, because they have a lot of higher social acceptance, and the girl was in a good mood and swiped right on them. And so they're able to generate matches, but are they able to convert those matches?
They're not. And do you know why?
That's the question.
It's because, think about it, for a woman who's swiping on every dude with social acceptance, and you've seen these types before who are, the lower primal girls, I call them UGs. She might have like 50 matches who are all marginal looks and have high social acceptance. Then if you're sending her a message, you're just one of 50 guys. But if you're the one dude in the area who's got primal, and maybe there's like 2 other dudes who look like you and have primal, then, you're going to match with a girl, you're going to be competing with just 2 other dudes who have the primal, and the girl is going to give a high amount of interest because she knows you're rare. Hello?
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because when girls are on the apps, deep down they want a relationship with these males, but
it is.
They know that with a lot of these males that they're not going to be able to get a relationship, so they might as well have some casual flings. So why would she waste time with a dude that is just social, that just looks safe, because he's more than likely not going to be able to do the job, get the job done.
She doesn't care because he's replaceable. And if he's replaceable, he's worthless. Because she knows there's 100 of these dudes. She matches with them every time she downloads a dating app. So she knows that they're always going to be queuing up for her. But the dudes who have primal, these are rare. So she's got to put in more effort for these. And this is true because you even said yourself that when you went from marginal physique to high primal physique, then not only the quantity of the matches get better and the quality, but also the amount of friction and resistance was way less. That the woman would say, you'd send her a message, she'd respond straight away. You'd ask her on a date, she'd, be already wanting to have a time and place in mind. But for these dudes who have no primal and are all social acceptance, which is most dudes, they send a text, ghosted for 6 hours. They ask for a date, she ghosts, and, she's not interested. Or she says, like, oh, next week, maybe. These are the kind of reactions you get. And the only reason he gets it is because he's replaceable. Like, it's simple supply and demand. When something is common, it's not valued. It's replaceable, and it's worthless.
I've had instances where I just uploaded like a pump from the gym, which is not even like an ideal female gaze scenario. But, excuse me. I just posted like a shirtless selfie from the gym. I had a nice pump going on and shit. And, I got casual stuff just from those selfies that I posted on Instagram. And I remember specifically this one girl that happened was one girl that I had matched like a year ago, back when I wasn't like primal. And, back then she matched me, but she wasn't very interested in meeting up immediately. But now suddenly I started posting those pictures, and now she's interested. You know what I mean?
Legit,
It
bro.
just goes to show you your point.
Bro, if you saw the stream last week, you would see that my friend had the exact same story that you just said. That he added this girl from IG.
It's true.
He had no primal pictures on his IG, and she was giving him marginal treatment over text. And then he uploaded a gym selfie just after the gym with a pump in the mirror on his story. and then she messaged him, replied to the story, and then they texted, and then he met her the same day for bedroom related stuff.
Yeah. And you know what's the problem with this is that only the guys who've done it can actually tell you this. This is one of those situations where half the people in the chat have not experienced it themselves. So I understand where they come from.
Mm.
Like I understand where all these people are saying no gym for face, it's all about the face, blah blah blah. I get it. This is like a rich person trying to tell a poor guy that he understands how the poor guy feels like, because it's two different realities. This is like one of those things where you have to do it yourself to truly understand,
Yeah, I know what you
and
mean.
until they do that, they'll not understand it.
Yeah,
And by the
like
way, I wanted
I
to talk also
understand it.
about,
Okay, wait. Let me just say, if you're gonna say another point, then let me just
yeah,
say on this same
it's
point
about
that we're talking about.
pre-selection.
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah. Before we move on to that, then I want to say another point related to the same topic. Like I've had the experience. I know that it works because I've been at the level where I've been at stages where I've optimized for primal and I've not optimized for primal. And when I've had a large enough sample size, I've seen the difference in results. And every time I've seen that when I've optimized for primal, the results have been better. However, if you're
Yeah.
marginal looks and have no primal whatsoever, then you're never going to see that contrast. So you haven't got a clue for whether what is going to increase your dating life. You don't know if learning game is going to increase your dating life. You don't know if increasing your primal is going to increase your dating life. You don't know what is going to have a difference because you've not had that experience to contrast of what actually works based on the strategies you've employed.
There's like two points I want to talk about here. And the first is I see the chat is talking about UGs and DGs. There's one thing I want to say about that, by the way. UGs also care about primal a lot. Like, do not
Nah,
make the
less.
mistake into thinking that UGs don't care about primal.
They
They
do,
do.
but less. They definitely care about it less.
It- they carry less and they require a higher level of social acceptance.
I agree. Yeah.
But like people shouldn't make the mistake thinking that they do not care, because trust me, they do.
They do care until they don't, and when they don't, it's an oofy doofy relationship. Or I like to call them MPJs,
Yeah.
non primal jester. Like but I think
Yeah.
in terms of dictionary definition, an MPJ is the same as an oofy doofy. Like, okay, yeah, you technically got this girlfriend, but you've never made it to the bedroom. All you're doing is holding hands and spending a bunch of money on her. Like, that's not a primal
Then
relationship. That's just non primal jester.
that's the kind of relationship I would never be in.
Yeah.
Like I leading with the wallet is like the worst thing you can do.
It's not even necessarily money involved. A lot of the time, it's just leading with your time and affection, like being
Yeah.
a shoulder to cry on for her. Like, and the guys who got these relationships, they've sent her 1 billion texts. On all of the sleepless nights she's had, where she's been emotional and upset about, all of her girlfriends not treating her right and Chad's not treating her right. So then she eventually caves for this relationship for the no primal, high social acceptance guy who's always been there for her. But the non-primal was there from the start. It's going to be there in the relationship as well. She doesn't suddenly wake up and then have primal for this dude, which she never had primal for. The non-primal is just going to carry on in the relationship.
I remember there's gonna be that time of the month, especially if she is not using birth control pills and stuff like that, where she's gonna crave that primal dude. And she's not gonna be thinking about the woofy doofy boyfriend that she have currently. Like,
Exactly. It's just non-primal jester. It's MPJ.
so the other thing I wanted to talk about is pre-selection, because as I was telling you and to the guys here in the chat, right now I'm in a relationship, and what I've noticed is that when your girl sees other girls looking at you and talking about you, like you guys have no idea how much of a nail that is. Because for like after she sees that, she starts to do all kinds of behaviors to like get your attention back again, and also like just please you in general because she doesn't want to lose you. And when she sees visual cues that other women also like you, it's a big thing in her brain into thinking, yeah, I am with the right guy. I've had this thing happen a lot. And even simple things like, for example, you know, when you go to McDonald's and like you go get your coffee, and like the McDonald's employee don't have to put sugar in your coffee, but guess what? She did
Mm.
without me asking, just being nice. Like all these acts of being nice, and then my girl is like, damn, you really enjoy the attention, don't you? Hey, all these people are so nice to you. And by the way, this stuff happens mostly when I have a tank top or I have a really like nice fitted shirt that showcase my silhouette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that brings me back to like the fashion point. Fashion is easy, guys. Fashion is just about having a physique and choosing the right size of your clothes. That's it.
Yeah.
Really, like
None of this oversized garbage.
oversize is garbage, honestly.
Yeah.
And also clothes that are very like small for your size is also a failure because you kind of look bad with it, especially skinny jeans and all that type of stuff. So the right size is better. Don't go oversized though, because
It's just a primal killer. Primal killer. That's all it is.
it's good if you're overweight though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because
but
that's like,
no,
you know
but
what I
this is the
mean?
problem. That's just kicking the non-primal down the road. Like, this is why I think it's another reason to make sure you have a primal physique. Because even if you
Yeah.
fraud your skinny fat frame with oversized or, whatever, okay, and then you get really, really lucky, and the woman didn't realize that you have this zero primal, negative primal physique, then okay, you bring her back to yours. Then you take your top off, your physique is revealed. It's the exact same situation as if you wore shoe lifts and you drop 4 inches. She realized she's been tricked, and then it's gonna be either one or two things. Either she's gonna just put up with it and have non-primal version of intimacy. And trust me, that is definitely a thing. I've heard from girls. They've said that they've had these experiences where they've basically had to shut their eyes. So you're gonna have the non-primal version, or she's gonna make up some excuse to not do it. She's gonna say like, "Oh, actually, we were just coming back to your house, so we could get to know each other more and talk a bit more. Nothing in the bedroom is gonna happen today." It's that kind of energy. Like, or she'll change her mind last minute. She'll
That
be
is
like,
the
"Oh,
worst thing. Yeah.
yeah." She'll be like, "Actually, no. I don't do full way on the first time of meeting. So, maybe we can do like a couple things, or just like hug and, we can take our tops off and whatever, and that's it." Do you know what I mean? But how do you know that she thought of this before? Maybe she got to the point where she sees you with no shirt, and then she's like, "Actually, no, my primal has been killed, so I don't want to do anything with this guy. How do I get myself out of it?" How do you know that's not what she's thinking?
It's very interesting because the difference between the girl saying that you guys are not going to do anything could simply be six pack abs, a little bit of tan skin, and some muscles and veins all over your forearms. And with those little things, you could have a different outcome with the same face and height.
Exactly.
That's the ironic thing of all of this. And I've
Uh,
experienced it myself. That's why I'm telling you this.
it is, yeah. Yeah, and like this is the point that I want to make that you see these blue pillars or BP deniers who they try to look for outliers and everything.
Yeah,
They'll
yeah.
go to the street and be like, "Oh, but look at this photo of this couple. See, the guy is less attractive than her. This marginal guy is with some Stacy. Okay, first things first. Most of these couples, they're not even having the girl be more attractive. They're on the same looks level, but it's just business as usual. People overrating a woman just because she's a woman and underrating the guy because he's a guy. That's the most common. But even in the rare cases where the woman is genuinely more attractive, you don't know what the real situation is in this relationship. Not all relationships are equal. Maybe he's an oofy doofy. Maybe it's non-primal. Maybe she's just gesturing him. Maybe she got her heart broken by Chad and now she's picking the safe option for this non-primal jester relationship where he's not going to break her heart. But she still secretly wants the Chad the whole time. You don't know what the real situation is going on in this relationship. And to tell you the honest to God truth, I know that it's often the rule, not the exception, that these other factors, which makes the relationship phony, are almost always in play. That there is always an excuse. There is always a reason for why a woman is dating down. Whenever a woman is dating down, the relationship is phony. Because how do I know this is true? I've been in relationships and dated the girls where she said the guy before her, who was less attractive than herself, she had no primal for him. She said herself that the relationship was fake. But when she's dating me, who she thought was on her looks level or above her looks level, I'm getting 10 times better treatment.
It's all about the treatment, man. Like,
It is.
I don't think the guys realize that a lot of men out there, they have relationships and girls, but they being treated like garbage.
Exactly,
like junk
garbage
in the
treatment.
relationship.
It's junk treatment.
They are lucky to have sex one time a week. You know?
Not even one time per week, one time ever. Like, especially for relationship with woman when she's under age of 20 years old. A lot of these relationship where a woman is under 20 years old, she's not even done it once with the dude. There's zero primal in this. It's a pure jester relationship.
I've heard stories. I've heard stories about dudes saying, "Oh, I've been with this girl for like 4 or 5 months and we never did anything." And I'm like, "Bro, that's not a relationship. That's like a friendship, bro.
That's just jester. That's all it is.
That's basically you gave away to her all that she wanted, and she didn't give to you what you wanted.
100%.
But that's because the guy lacks primal, like the guy lacks that factor, so the girl doesn't see that value in him.
He is.
Because she doesn't seek it.
It's almost always because
she sees emotional support.
It is. It's almost always
she sees
because
the emotional support.
It's almost always because he had the social acceptance to get the relationship, but not the primal. So then the girl, when the guy is asking her out, she's thinking like, I don't know about this guy. Like, I don't really find him that attractive. I couldn't really imagine things going to the bedroom with him. But he's nice, I guess, and he looks after my emotions, so I could use his shoulder to cry on from time to time. That's the kind of energy she's given. So she reluctantly says yes after the 6th time the dudes ask her to be his girlfriend. On the 6th time she says yes, and then he's like, yes, I finally got her. This is going to be perfect. But then the junk treatment just carries on within the relationship. Nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed because the reality of the matter is if you had to wait that long to get the girl, that automatically means that you're not going to get the best treatment simply because you are not their first option. It's that simple.
Exactly. You were her last option.
It's brutal to say, but it is pure reality.
100%, yeah. But this is why, people are dumb and they don't look at the bigger picture. Like, it's actually other people that are black and white, not us. Because we're looking at the nuance. We're looking at other variables, other factors to figure out, how a relationship can be dynamic and it's got different, levels of power for each of the people involved. But you got these BP deniers, blue pillars in the real world. They'll see one dude who's marginal, with a woman above his looks level and think like, oh, look, see? A guy can get this awesome relationship. No, it doesn't work like that. You don't know anything about this relationship. All you've seen is a dude walk in with a girl who's slightly above his looks level. You don't know what the real dynamics are of that relationship.
And a lot of the times the girl just has makeup, which is a big improvement for them. She might not even be that much more attractive than the guy. They're like maybe on a similar looks range, but maybe she's a little bit above, and she's probably using makeup. And then another thing, which again, we're going to talk about the body. People are going to hate me, but it is what it is. Like, on average, I'd say if you compare average women to average men in terms of their body, I'd say the average woman has a significant advantage because this is because the dynamic of both genders. So we have testosterone, which means we do get horny quite easily. And what that means is that a lot of the times the girl doesn't even have to have the best body possible. Like our juices will flow because we have testosterone. But my point is, maybe a five out of 10 body in a female is not as bad as a 5 out of 10 male body. So the
It
5 out
is.
of 10 male body induces zero, absolutely zero primal to a woman, as opposed to in a woman, a 5 out of 10 body does induce some level of primal.
100% agree.
I've never seen anyone say this before,
No, I
but I'll
have.
just gonna go ahead and say it.
I saw it on a video
You
literally
did?
yesterday. He said pretty much word for
Yeah?
word what you just said. He said that
Yeah.
men are less sexually discriminated against women than women are for men. So basically, women have a higher barrier to entry, a higher bar where primal
High threshold,
starts. Yeah, a
basically.
higher threshold
Yeah,
for primal
yeah.
to start. And in my experience, primal for a woman, for a woman to have primal for a man, it starts at around the 6 out of 10 range. So 5 out of 10 is no primal. You need to have at
Yeah.
least above average to have primal
And
from a
I'd
woman.
say in terms of in terms of physique, 6 out of 10 is not enough.
No,
Like
I would say yeah,
six out
six
of
out of
ten.
ten. No, 6 out of 10 is where primal begins. For physique,
Yeah.
it's that same for face. So if you're 6 out of 10 face and 6 out of 10 physique, some women are gonna have, women are usually gonna have some primal for you. It won't be in much, but there's gonna be
Yeah.
some primal there. But if you're five for both, no primal. However, for guys,
But my main thing is like my main like idea is, let's say you have a 6 out of 10 face, which is already quite decent, and you should be thankful for it because realistically, as you said, it's not easy to get your face up. Like realistically speaking, you're not getting up to 8 if you start at 6, but your physique, you could make a vastly difference, correct? So it's like, why would you settle for just a 6 out of 10 body when you can potentially have an 8 out of 10 body? And then, yeah, you increase your primal. You know what I mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Because if you have a 6 out of 10 face and you're thinking, oh, bro, I just need to get some abs in the gym and just be like a slim, lean, athletic type of body, your physique is just a 6 out of 10. Like, it's nothing special. Like, yes, some girls are going to have some primal for you, but
Well, maybe we have like different rating systems. Check the photo I sent you on WhatsApp just now.
definitely.
That's me. What would you say rating for both face and physique is? But I'm more interested in what you rate for the physique.
For the physique, I'd say like a flat 7
Okay,
because
7.
I think you like volume. You like
Yeah,
volume.
I know that's the main thing. I've got good volume though, because I'm 78 kg at
But
5'10".
the leanness is better than what I expected because I don't remember you ever being this lean from the previous videos,
No,
like
bro,
a
I've
couple
always
of
been
years
this
ago.
lean, but facially, I'm not blessed with naturally lean face. Additionally, darker skin makes your face look more lean than it actually is. So if you're a light skinned guy, you actually need to be even leaner to achieve the illusion of
Why do
more.
you think I tan?
Yeah,
because it makes your
it's
physique pop more.
it is.
Like,
No, but facially as well. Like, if you are
yeah,
light skin and light hair, it's very, very hard to give the impression of a lean face. But if you're
yeah.
like, olive skin and dark hair, then you can look as lean pretty much, even if you're 3, 4, 5% body fat higher. I don't know why works like that. I think it's because of the contrast. But that's just how it works. But yeah, anyway, I
And
thought
your
that you was
skin
gonna say my
imperfections
physique
are
was.
more hidden too.
Yeah, I thought you was gonna
Your
say
skin
my
imperfections.
I thought you was gonna say my physique was somewhere in the 6 to 7 range, but the fact you said it's a straight 7, like I know, oh bro, the amount of primal I've got from girls liking my physique has been crazy. Like I
It's
know that I've got a good
realistic with
physique.
your. It's realistic with your treatment, right?
It is,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I've seen the reactions, like I've seen the amount of primal that I've got in situations before from my physique, so I know that it's definitely in the primal range. But
have
guys
you
with
seen Zayn Malik's physique?
no, I
Like,
haven't. But
Zayn Malik's physique. People have criticized me for saying that. So I basically like I rate Zayn Malik in the face, Chad Light, but my system differs from yours in terms of like analyzing the face.
I would say he's 7
By
as
all
well. Chad
intents
Light is
and
7.
purposes,
I would say that he's the
yeah,
same. Chad Light.
I think you'd probably rate his face premium though, because like you rated clavicular premium.
I
So
would
I'd
say
say
Zayn Malik is the lowest premium possible.
like
He's I would say 7. He's somewhere between upper marginal and premium.
yeah, but then I put him in the 6 range for SMV because he's 5'7" and extremely
Yeah,
underweight, very
yeah. His physique
skinny,
is garbage. I'm looking at it right now on my
and
phone.
people were shocked. But I try to tell people visualize the guy as if he was not famous. If he's not famous and you see that guy on the beach, are you really going to be impressed?
I
No,
would
you're
actually
not.
say his physique is 5 out of 10 primal from woman's perspective. I wouldn't even give him a 6. I would say the lack
No,
of
but I
muscle
said
mass.
6 because the 6 is the overall, like including
Oh,
the face
okay.
and everything. You
But
know
in
what I mean?
terms of how much
Yeah.
primal women would have for his physique, how much would you say he would get?
Yeah, indeed.
Is it 5?
Because he's very underweight.
Is it 5?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's
indeed.
what I said as well. There's, women aren't gonna have primal for that physique. It's just not gonna happen.
But
Feel
in
free
this
to look
case,
up and
he's like
Google
a
yourself.
famous.
Yeah,
He's a famous singer. This is kind of an irrelevant point. Of course, his SMV he's very high because he's a famous singer with like insane clout. He's like this is kind of like a cheat code in dating when you're like this level of famous.
yeah.
I
I agree.
think it's common sense, really.
But anyway, I didn't say the point
Which is
about what when men have primal for women. I would say primal from men to women. I would say it starts at 4 out of 10. Actually, a woman can be
it's
4. Like,
yeah.
and I've
It
the
starts at
reason I say
anywhere
this is
from like
true.
4 to 5.
I would say, yeah, I would say actually 4, just to give a straight number. And the
Yeah.
reason I know it's true, because I've been to clubs, I've seen guys swiping on apps, and when guys are in desperate mode and they are just, thinking, with their little head and not their big head, which in essence
Yeah.
that is what primal is thinking with your little head, then it's anything 4 and up. Like they're still rejecting threes. Like I've seen threes in a club, and there would be like 2 threes dancing the whole night, and not even one guy would approach her because not even the
But
desperate dudes. They just see like, whoa, no, that girl's like, I wouldn't even have primal for this woman, so nothing. But as soon as a woman is a
the
4 and
late
up, then she starts getting approached, and the guys actually do have primal for her.
yeah. But like I actually I don't know if this is like a popular opinion or not, but I don't care. Like I like to speak my mind. Like I don't actually think that women are very like they have like an insane threshold for like beauty or primal or anything. It's just like the surrounding circumstances that forces them to be more selective because it's like I said, we have the testosterone, so we go look for them, we seek them, and then they have more options than us, which forces them to be more selective, which forces them to raise their threshold because otherwise they're not going to be able to handle all the options that they have.
I would say it's
Like
elements of both, to be
it's
honest. But you're definitely on the right lines because they've shown evidence that women's thresholds do increase. Because even going back to 100 years ago, like the average World War I male soldier fighting on the front lines was 5'5". Like they've got these military records measuring the heights of the dudes. The average height was 5'5", which nowadays most people would say is an unacceptable height, especially in Northern Europe, especially in the West. Um, and like if that was what the average dude his height was back in those days, like clearly now the standard for that has gone up. The threshold has gone up because
supply and demand. Like they just didn't exist back then. Now, like you have more. Like you have
yeah,
tall men.
they
You have
have
more attractive
exposure.
men in general.
They have exposure like to the taller guys. They, every woman who's been through the school system, she's gonna look at the tallest guy in class and be like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
16 years old, that guy's already 6'3". So maybe I don't want the best guy because he probably has options. So I'm gonna go for the fourth best dude, out of 30 different kids, and this fourth best dude is 6 foot on the nose. So
yeah.
that's what causes these inflated standards. But 100 years ago, in that same class of 30 kids, the fourth best dude would have been like 5'8". Because if the average height
Yeah.
was 5'5", a tall height for a dude in that time period was 5'8", which is that's seen as below average now.
5 foot, but I'd say 5'8" is still safe-ish. Like you're
Safe-ish.
not like you're going to be able to find options. It's just your dating pool is more limited. It's smaller than if you were, let's say, 6'1".
Yeah, I would say that it doesn't affect your primal as much as it does affect
No,
your social acceptance. Because
social
yeah,
acceptance.
if a guy's 5'8" and jacked, like girls will still have a lot of primal for him. I've seen it. Like
Yeah,
I've
he's
seen
gonna
guys
have a
who are
lot of one night stands if he
yeah,
wants.
yeah. I've seen
But
guys who are
the
5'8" and jacked. Girls have the same amount of primal for him, pretty much, compared with a tall guy. It doesn't make a huge difference, but he's not going to get a relationship anywhere near as easy because girls just
yeah,
don't take short guys seriously for relationships. They just think like, oh, he's short and I can't be with a short guy for a relationship because my friends will laugh.
exactly.
Yeah,
What ends up happening is because his social acceptance is lower, his dating pool also lowers for a long-term relationship. But for one night, like he's not losing much.
yeah. For one night's like a 5'8" guy who is at least 6 out of 10 face and
Yeah,
jacked, with 8 out of 10 physique, same physique as yours, basically. He could go to clubs, provided it's a non-rig club. He could easily make out with 3, 4 girls a night, and he could,
yeah.
bring back at least one girl per month if he goes to a club like this. Given those stats, and if he went to, 6'1" height, it wouldn't improve his results that drastically. Like, okay, he might get slightly more success, but his primal is already high to begin with.
In my opinion, like let's say the guy goes from 5'8" to 6'1". First things first, in terms of the primal for the short term, he gets a little bit more amplification from the height, so to speak. Like, but it's not a big deal. Like he's going to. The reality of the matter is that his world does not change that much in that sense because, like, whether he was 5'8" or 6'1", he's going to have the options to do the one night stands.
Yeah,
But
for
for the
primal,
dating, yeah,
but yeah,
that's a massive difference, bro. Because now a lot of the girls that would reject him for his height would now be willing to be with him
for a
because
relationship, this
six
is
foot one height is quite a decent height, decent to good
it
height.
is. Yeah, height is more important for relationships because it's mainly an indicator of social acceptance. But physique and face, no, face is both. I would say it's equally weighted for both primal and social
Yeah, yeah,
acceptance.
yeah, yeah.
But physique is definitely more leaning towards primal.
If you, for example, if you're a marginal type of face, but you have a very high primal because of your body, you're gonna be the type of guy that can generate a lot of one night stands. But a lot of those girls only see you for that because, yeah, he's a good shag, like you guys like to say,
Hmm.
but I don't really like his face that much. So I don't want to date him for real. Like I don't want to present him to my family, you know. I don't want anything serious with this guy because I don't like his face.
Exactly.
But if he's got the primal, he's still gonna get, still gonna get some action.
Exactly. And same, for the opposite example, if a guy's marginal face has no primal in his physique, he's just really skinny, but he's really tall, like 6'5". So basically face IQ with a worse face, then he's
Yeah,
gonna get used for relationships. Girls aren't gonna
yeah.
want to have a one night
That's like the
with him.
primal.
Yeah, because he's got no primal.
Not the primal. That's
But
the prime candidate for like just a
yeah, that's a
relationship.
prime candidate for just a relationship. It is. Yeah, because she's thinking like, oh, my mum is gonna love him because he's tall and normal looking, and for mum, they actually can't tell the difference between a marginal face on a 20-year-old guy and a premium face on a 20-year-old guy. They can tell when the
Yeah.
guy is junk if he's 20 years old, but they can't tell when he's marginal or premium. They just see like, oh, 20-year-old normal looking kid. Doesn't matter if he's premium or marginal face. They just see 20-year-old normal looking kid in both situations. But when he's junk, she can tell that he's the ugly duckling.
Yeah. But so this guy here said something that now makes me want to say something else because it's like, so in conclusion, get jacked and you'll get lots of one night stand. Yeah, that is true. And what I want to add is that, and if you do that while being handsome, then not only you will get more one night stands, but you also will get more like long term relationships if you choose
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you'll get three
But
times as
also
much
on,
one night stands, but you'll get two times as much relationships. Like, so they both go up, but they
yeah,
scale at different levels. And you'll also get
but
10
also,
times less Jester. 10 times less Jester.
yeah,
So it makes it worth it.
but also like, let's say your marginal face. So your marginal face, but you have a very high primal. Don't be thinking that you're just going to get like one night stands. Like I do think the girls that are marginal faces themselves would also eventually be willing to have a relationship with you too. Because as the studies say, most relationships are kind of looks matched anyway. So really like you don't lose anything by maximizing your primal. You don't like you reduce the chance of jester, you improve your chances of having action every day. So you don't go to Reddit complain that you only have sex like once a month. So basically, what realistically do you have to lose? You don't have anything to lose, and you
They
gain more
lose their
respect from
ego.
other men too.
They lose their
You
ego
gain more respect from other men.
because they have to concede to us being correct. Um and they have to concede that PSL worship isn't the way to live optimal life as a man. Like honestly, I was the same
Yeah,
just about a year and a half ago. I only started gym maxing at the start of this year. Like I already had like naturally above average physique just because my frame was above average. But I only started gym maxing at the start of this year because before that I was like, oh, physique doesn't matter anyway. Like, and I was also like seeing someone, so I think there's less incentive to looks max, especially for primal when you're already in a relationship. But after that ended and I'm back out there in the dating market, then I'm like, well, I gotta get my primal up. Like that's the only way that I'm gonna be able to increase my odds, increase the chance of long term relationship, short term relationship, and decrease the chance of jester. Like that's the only way I've got to do it. And I've got to admit myself that I was wrong the years before when I thought it was only this PSL garbage.
I mean, but dude, like even I've made that mistake. Even knowing kind of deep down, I knew that it was wrong. But when you spend so much time surround these people, you kind of start to think like them.
It is.
It's like that. It's like that saying that you are the impression of your five best friends or something like that.
Yeah, I was about to
So
say the exact same quote. The exact same quote was on my
for
mind.
for a lot of years, I didn't focus on gym maxing simply because I had the wrong influences. And now I've learned that they were wrong. But also going back to your point about the relationship, I think even in a relationship, you should always keep your primal at the best as you can because that's going to lead to the best treatment, basically.
I agree.
If you
And
keep your primal, you keep like you know how sometimes people say, "Oh, bro, we started dating, and at the beginning everything was good. She was treating me so good, and then eventually, after the time went by, things just started going like, downhill." A lot of the times, it's the guy's fault because he loses primal, basically. Like
mm,
he stop not only loses primal, but he also stops acting the way he was in the beginning.
mm,
So if you keep your primal and you keep the attitude that won her over in the start, it's the key to success
mm,
long
yeah,
term.
I agree. Like, if you lose your primal in the relationship, she will lose her primal for you.
And then the treatment
And
goes
then the
down
treatment, and
basically.
then the treatment gets worse. And in the worst case scenario, she gets the primal from somewhere else, and you guys know what that entails. So, you like
Yeah.
it's not a matter of like getting in the relationship and you're across the finish line. No, it's still
No,
gotta have the maintenance.
you have to maintain.
Exactly. Anyways, it's gone on for like nearly 2.5 hours. So, is there any
Yeah.
final points that we want to be speaking on, or I'm thinking of wrapping up the stream in a sec?
Honestly, dude, I mean, I have a lot of things in my mind because I've been in this type of spaces for quite some time. But you know, I think we have addressed most of the important things. I think the message here should be clear. I can basically say it in a couple of words. Basically, guys, like focus on your primal. And if you have like huge failures on your face, like for instance, you have like a big ass nose or you're balding and you need a hair transplant, do that, Like improve your primal and try to reduce the flaws that you have aesthetically. And that's basically it. Like you do that while doing the style maxing, all that stuff, and you're good.
Yeah, I agree.
A, a lot of the times you guys don't even have to do fix any flaws because some of you don't have flaws. You just don't have your face is just not insane, but you're not junked here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's one
But
thing that I
yeah,
don't like about the community is that a
focus
lot
on
of guys
primal basically.
who like invest zero effort in exposure, um, like they don't realize they have potential. Like, I know from my own face ratings, selling thousands of them, that most guys get a score of 4, 5, or 6, which is in that marginal range. And if you're in that 4, 5 to 6 range, then you have got potential. Like, you can increase your primal, you can looks max. Okay, maybe if you're a 4, I think it's a bit harder. But if you're just a 4 because of poor environmentals, you might be a genetic 5, you might be a genetic 6. Then you can fix your environmentals, get up to a 5 or a 6, and then optimize your primal, all of this other stuff, and then you can exposure max, and then you're going to see the results come in.
Yeah, I have sold thousands of face ratings too, and I'd say on average people are just fives. They're not really junked here, and it's basically their fives. With some of them have a couple of flaws, which if they fix, maybe they could get up to 6, 6.5, 7 in some cases if they're lucky. But the main thing that they're missing on is the primal.
Mm.
Basically, you guys need to look like an Instagram guy. You
Mm.
you need to have the raw aesthetic of like an Instagram guy.
Yeah.
Not so much the PSL Elias Depute type of case.
Yeah. Don't
Because that is
worship these
cold.
guys. Start worshiping the guys that actually do well.
Yeah,
All right. Anyway, good stream, man. It was great chatting to you at last.
it was great, bro.
Okay. All right. See you guys later. All
It
right.
was great.
Bye.
I'll see you guys later.
Forgot to say Merry Christmas, but oh well.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I said it at the start, so.